guys. I just don't know. I'm having problems. There it goes. We're on now. Shalom, everybody. Running a little later than scheduled. We apologize for that. There we go. Hope everybody's doing well. Passover's coming. A matter of days, a few days away. Well, a week and a half or so. But it's going to be great to see everybody from all the schools. isbhpk Houston, isbhpk Virginia, isbhpk Rochester. Shalom, hope everybody's doing well. Shalom to Calcaba in Guatemala and the brothers and sisters he's teaching in different states in California and a few families in Atlanta, Georgia, and Virginia. Peace and shalom. I hope y'all are doing well. Shabbat shalom, and I guess let's get started. We don't have a lot of time to gotta get on pace. So, brothers, much. Birthday, how about Shem Yahshua?
Birthday, how about Shem Yahshua?
Hahawa'ah. Nathanawa. Awar. Zayawam. The water. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us light this day. Thanks, so be it.
Birthday, how about Shem Yahshua?
Birthday, how about Shem Yahshua?
Hahawa'ah. Nathanawa.
Rayach.
Nayachacha. The water.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us sweet savor. Thank you, so be it.
So be it. Imagine Wapanya Yerushalayim.
Stand and face Jerusalem.
Birthday, how about Shem Yahshua?
Birthday, how about Shem Yahshua?
Hahawa'ah. Nathanawa. Hashabbat. Bashalom. The water.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it.
Psalms 121. Anasya, Ayanyamya, Hahoyim, Ma'aya, Yabu'ah, Isaiah, Yabu'ah, Ma, Yahweh, Sha'aisha, Shemayim, Wa'aratiza, La'ah, Yanathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'ah, Nawam, Shashamoyah, Hana, Yala'ah, Nawam, Wala'ah, Yashan, Shashawamar, Yashua, Yahweh, Shemoyah, Yahweh, Tazaria, Ayo, Yanyamya, Yad, Hashemash, Yala'ah, Hakaya, Bayawam, Wala'ah, Halabana, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashemaya, Yakov, Yashemar, Yapasha, Yahweh, Yashemar, Awalakya, Wawa'aya, Ma'aitha, I will Amen.
Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the power of Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yahshua shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore. Amen.
Israelite Credo. Shema Yahshua, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yahshua, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yahshua, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord.
Lord's Prayer. Avanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak with Ka, Thaba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ha'aratazah, Hawa, Hayah, Bashemayim, Netanel, Rachel, Kol, Yawad, Wasalachno, Chawatino, Kasalachno, Chawatino, Wala'ah, Tabiano, gonna say what? A bowl. I will shine out. Hayat, right, Hayat, Raka, Amalakwa, Waha'ara, Aman.
Matthew chapter 6 verse 9. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. 10 Commandments. La'ayahaya. Laka. Alahaya. Achayim. Ayo. Panya.
Thou shalt have no other powers before me.
Number 2. La'ah, Ta'ayna, Laka, Basal, Wala'ah, Ta'aybar.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor serve them.
Number 3. La'ah, Talachwa. Sorry. Talachwacha. Sham. Yahweh. Bashawa.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
Number 4. Zakar. Hayawam. Hashabat. Laquadashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Number 5. Kabad. Abaka. Ya'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Number 6. La'ah. Tharatazah.
Thou shalt not kill murder.
Number 7. La'ah. Thana'ah.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Number 8. La'ah. Thagana.
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9. La'ah. Tha'ayna. Shakwa.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Number 10. La'ah. Tha'chamat. Kol. Asharay. Lara'ika.
Thou shalt not covet anything which is thy neighbor's.
Okay, got it. It's Asharay, not Asharay. Salakia. Baruch Atah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Blessed are Yahweh in the name of Yahweh that gives us the law.
Okay. Israel Yeshavim, take a seat. Okay, just so that we kind of get a recap of what happened last week. David was constantly, I guess through his lifetime, was being pushed and goaded and challenged to take matters into his own hands, to sit back here and to relieve himself from all the suffering in them and the difficulties that the Most High had him go through. He had Saul constantly had him on the run. He was living in caves. Saul took his wife. He took his initial posterity. He was constantly attacking him. He was on the run, and then the Most High gave him a few opportunities to take matters into his own hands versus his enemies, or the people that had the greatest issues and were the major antagonists to his life. And then when we got to like 1 Samuel 25 is when he finally got the understanding of the battle that Most High had him go through for years. And it was, listen man, the vengeance comes from the Most High, and the Most High is going to be the one that removes the obstacles that are in your way from you. And the major lesson that David had to learn was that he had to maintain his integrity. We have to maintain our integrity and not let our outside distractions change who we are or make us guilty in the eyes of the Heavenly Father. Once he understood that and finally accepted it in his heart, within a week or so, the Most High removed this man Nadab out of his way, and then it cleared the way for other blessings. He obtained 2 wives. The Most High opening the door for him once he just accepted that I can't take matters in my own hands to get what I want in my life. I have to sit back here and let the Most High remove these issues from me on his time. And that was one of the major lessons he had to learn before he ascended to the throne. Okay, so now we're in 1 Samuel chapter 26, verse 1. Karai, let's salute you in.
Kariah, Shah Shabbatah, Bada Shah, Bada Yasha'ala.
Kariah, Shah Shabbatah, Bada Shah, Bada Yasha'ala. And Mitchell. Yahweh Hashem Hashem Brakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Brakatham.
Alright, Yishabim. I really need this image. If you can look this up for me, or some sure, and find a way to get it on here. So I'm gonna need to at least put it on the computer. It is this.
You want to send it to me, then I'll put it up on the.
If I can send it. Okay, I'll do that. I got this. How come it works for you and not for everybody else? I'm sending it to you right now. And I need you to put that on here if you can. Okay, so for some reason mine's not going through. I'm going to need it later. Just hold it, kind of keep it in your back pocket because we're going to need it later on. Okay, so give me this 1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 1.
1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 1. And the Ziphites came unto Saul to Gibeah, saying, Doth not David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah?
Yes, what's that?
Which is before Jeshimon?
I'll shoot you. 1 second, Joe. I'm just want to get this sent to this brother before there is. Okay, so read verse 1 again, sir. I'm sorry.
Come. 1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 1.
Once again, shalom everybody online. Let's go.
And the Ziphites came unto Saul to Gibeah, saying, Doth not David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah?
To the crazy, read on.
Which is before Jeshimon?
So just know this. David had got the understanding of his battle, but he's still on the run. He just, at this point, had accepted what the Most High is putting him through. This is the lesson. Most High takes us through these stages in our life where we're suffering, where we don't understand why, and we have to continue to maintain our integrity until the Most High opens the door for us. Well, no, you don't got to be on that. I was trying to put it on the computer.
Yeah.
Then I was going to take it.
I could post it on there. I mean, I see what you mean. You want to post? You want to put it on here?
But I know how to do that. But I need it on. I need to get to the photos. Then I'll be able to upload it from there easily. Then I can expand it and make it pop. I just got to get that image onto this computer. And for some reason, it wasn't airdropping onto that computer.
I got you.
Okay. So what we're dealing with is he's still on the run, but he has at least accepted his battle while he's on the run. And secondly, you got these damn Ziphites again. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, but in 1 Samuel, I think it was 23, the Ziphites snitched on David before. They were snitching on David before, telling Saul where he was before. And that was when they came down and they tried to catch him something the first time, and David was in the actual cave and discovered Saul the first time and saved his life. Now we're back the second time, and these same Israelites, these same Ziphite Israelites, were snitching on David again, trying to sit back here and please the king. Don't forget, the first time that the king came down there, he thanked them and praised them for their support. He thanked them and praised them for looking after him and being kind to him. So obviously these Ziphites felt that if Saul was able to catch David, they'd get some kind of reward. They'd get taken care of for being them switches, being the proper snitch. Okay, so
it's like today.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a snitch for a price.
People do things for reward. It says this, if you find information about this, you get 50,000.
Yeah, reward.
10,000.
David was probably giving them a 1 eye.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there was some of these Ziphites came snitching, and they said, "Listen, man, David's over here. Come and get him." Read verse 26 and 1 again.
Come. 1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 1. And the Ziphites came unto Saul to Gibeah, saying, Doth not David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon? Then Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him, to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph.
Good.
And Saul pitched in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon, by the way. But David abode in the wilderness, and he saw that Saul came after him into the wilderness.
So David obviously had spies and lookouts to make sure he had a heads up about who was coming at. Okay, so he had a heads up. He saw Saul's men coming in the vicinity, and he was ready. Read on.
David therefore sent out spies, and understood that Saul was come in very deed.
Exactly.
And David arose, and came to the place where Saul had pitched. And David beheld the place where Saul lay. And Abner, the son of Ner, the captain of his host, and Saul lay in the trench, and the people pitched round about him.
So what they're saying is David arose, saw that Saul had pitched his tent below in the valley area. He also saw that Saul was in the middle, and all the men surrounded him to protect Saul, their king. Also, they're saying Abner, which was the captain of the host, which was also what? Who was Abner in relation to Saul? Does anybody know? Who was Abner in relation to Saul? Abner was Saul's uncle.
Oh, wow.
Abner was Saul's uncle. And what you're going to see is a lot of the top advisors that Israel at that time had were men that were in their own family. I guess they felt that they were looked after more and they were considered more if they had their blood close to them. So Abner was the uncle to Saul. He was the captain of the host, and he was in charge of all the other men surrounding the detail and protecting of Saul, the king. Read on.
Verse 6. Then answered David and said to Ahimelech the Hittite, and to Abishai.
And these are the realities. Ahimelech was a Hittite. How do we know that? Because who was living in the land before the Jews came? You had Hittites, Perizzites, Girgashites,
Jebusites.
Philistines, Jebusites. You had all these ites, right? And with that, the Hittites, when you read into Joshua, they were the first ones to concede. Some of the Hittites flipped. There was a group of Hittites that sat back here and bargained and tricked Joshua into a fake peace treaty. That happened in the book of Joshua. So the Hittites were in there, and a lot of them assimilated themselves to the Jews and fought the Jews.
For survival purposes.
For survival purposes. So now you got Ahimelech the Hittite. Read on.
And to Abishai, the son of Zeruiah.
And Abishai, the son of Zeruiah. Zeruiah was David's sister. Now you're starting to see, once again, you have these men that are about to be in charge, or the men in charge, they're trusted men, they're trusted fighters, are family, or kin. So Abishai was David's cousin, or nephew, I should say. He was his nephew. And you can also see, read on.
Brother to Joab.
So Joab, which eventually was his captain of the host also. Now he was his nephew also. Joab was the son to his sister. Abishai, Joab were all family. That's the point I'm trying to make sure we understand going forward. Okay, cool, perfect. So continue.
Saying, who will go down with me to Saul to the camp? And Abishai said, I will go down with you.
So David said, who's going to come down to this camp so we can sit back here and deal with this situation? So Abishai, his blood, his nephew said, I'm with you. I'm coming down. Read on.
Verse 7. So David and Abishai came to the people by night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping within the trench, and his spear stuck in the ground at his bolster.
So his spear was right in the ground. He stuck it. They were going to sleep, obviously. Read on.
But Abner and the people lay around about him. Then said Abishai to David, the Most High hath delivered thine enemy into thine hand this day. Now therefore let me smite him, I pray thee, with the spear, even to the earth at once. I will not smite him the second time.
He said, I'm not going to smite him the second time because I'm going to kill him the first time. That's the reason he said, I ain't going to need 2 hits. I'm going to finish him off quick, fast.
That's 1 shot, 1 kill.
1 shot, 1 kill. He wanted that. He was like, we can finish this war right now. Read on.
And David said to Abishai, destroy him not.
But at this time, David, you can tell he was even more. Listen, he was saying these same things before, but his mind was clear. Put it this way. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of times you're in the midst of a battle sometimes, and you make decisions because the scripture tells you to make these decisions. But as time progresses, you start to believe and understand why you have to make the decisions. So now the decisions are more of your beliefs backed by the word versus when you're afraid, when you're struggling, you're cleaving to the word, but you still got a bunch of thoughts pounding in your head. Y'all know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Where David is now, he's like, man, listen, we're not going to kill him. I've already seen where this leads me. I've already seen where this mindset will take me if I play with it. He's past that spirit of wrestling with this situation. And you can tell he's past it because soon after this encounter, he's going to be where he needs to be in the throne. Because he understood the lesson that he had to learn before he was able to go to the next level.
Or in layman's terms for us, he accepted the circumstances.
Huh? Yeah.
A lot of times we have scenarios and circumstances that we don't agree with. We don't necessarily, we might be Israelites, we might be reading the Bible, but that doesn't mean that we agree with the circumstance or set of rules or the set of principles or the set of situations or conditions that we're living in. And we might read scriptures to lessen the anger or the anxiety, but it doesn't mean that we've accepted the condition.
And also David, he's not gonna force his own hand, and take matters in his own hand, because that's ultimately what a lot of times these situations offer us. When we see an opportunity to get freedom and to get liberty, we say, man, this is my chance. I've been waiting for this chance my whole life to get freed up, to get liberty. But that's part of what integrity is about, is when you keep your original state. He could have killed him when he was in a cave, but he chose not to kill him then. So he wasn't going to change his mindset and his constitution even at this point. So this is when he accepted the fact that, you know what, this is the Most High's anointed. I'm not going to take matters in my own hands. That's something that Satan likes to do. Satan likes to push us and force our hand and to make moves out of rash decisions. It says, the scripture says, wrath worketh not the righteousness of the Most High in James. So it wouldn't have been righteous if he would have just killed him out of his own constitution, because it was my opportunity. A lot of times we take matters in our own hands and say, man, this is my chance. I got to take it, and I'm gonna do it right now. I only got 1 shot, so I'm gonna take this chance. But that doesn't mean that it was backed by the Most High. The Most High still recognized Saul as his elder. He still recognized Saul as a leader of the people. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what he felt like vengeance would have done for him at that moment.
It would have made his life easier.
Yep.
But that didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was standing on it with the Heavenly Father.
That's hard to do.
Hell yeah, it is. That's easier said than done.
Yeah, that's hard when you got pressure on your head. When you got that pressure on your head, somebody's trying to take you out.
Listen, you're living your life, like you said, I am an inch away from death. Living that reality is extremely difficult. So, read verse 9 again.
Come. 1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 9. And David said to Abishai, destroy him not, for who can stretch forth his hand against the Most High's anointed and be guiltless?
And that's the point. Because when you sit back here and spill that blood, you know, the only way to justify the spilling of blood is that your blood is spilled. And he understood that. He understood there was a price to pay for taking matters into your own hands. Hold that and go to Zephaniah 3 and 8. I'm still having problems with this. I got this, the thing, I'm trying to get this image.
Did you save it to the photos?
Not yet.
Save it.
This ain't let me do that. If you can do that, it'd be cool. Yeah. Okay, let me just slide it down. Yeah. That's the one. That's that. Thank you. That's gonna work. More. Stop. It's the computer's being crazy. Okay, read that, sir.
Come. Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Most High.
Listen, the Most High is constantly teaching the same method or concept all the way down the line. It's explained here in Samuel. It's explained in Zephaniah that we're supposed to wait for the Most High to remove us from our situation. Too many times we're going through things, we're going through changes, and we want to sit back here and with our own hands and with our own might, with our own force of will, change our situation, change our circumstances. But that's just not how the Most High operates. He talks about that. Even Christ told us about what person can sit back and by thought change their stature. None of us can sit back with our thought and our mindset, change our stature and our circumstances. What we can change, what we can focus on, is our strength of mind, our strength of persistence, and you know what I mean? I'm gonna go to the office when it's just downtime and send it that way, bro.
Well, I think this will work right here.
Okay.
It'll be in the notes, so when you read it, you should
Okay.
be able to pull it up right here.
Cool. Okay. Let that. Are you in that verse?
There was still more.
Yeah. Keep going. Keep reading.
Come. Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, unto the day that I rise up to the prey.
Whether it's waiting on the Most High until He delivers us in the kingdom, or if we're waiting on the Most High until our situation changes or improves for the better. The Most High is still reminding us that we have to wait until He delivers us from our circumstance. Let's put that here. Let me see. Okay, so, and then we do this.
Put it in the notes.
I don't know what we'll do with the notes, but
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going to take the notes from. Oh, okay. It's like, y'all, there's something I want to kind of prepare. Hopefully, I think I can do it for you. Hopefully. We can find notes from here. Then we can sit back here and we'll figure it out. Okay, so go to Romans 12 and 19 now. Romans 12 and 19. It's gonna drive us crazy. We might as well.
Let me see that. Send a copy. It would.
Send some photos. We just go some photos. We get good. We get the same. We got those same answers. It's crazy how it doesn't go to. Like I said, I'm gonna go in the office and switch it over. Don't worry about it. Seriously. Yeah, we'll find it. Okay, so read that in Romans 12 and 19. Matter of fact, let me get it real quick. It's like y'all online. I'm just trying to. There was a map that I kind of wanted to show people. I guess most of the ones they haven't. But Romans 12 and 19. Let's do it.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves.
And this is once again, it's the same point. Avenging yourself solves nothing. Taking matters into your own hands to make things right for the wrongs that were done to you is not what the Most High expects from us. What He expects from us is for us to be in order, wait, and wait for the Most High to remove these obstacles out of our life. That's how we stay guiltless. Because if we might have an idea that we're right in our eyes, and we might be right for doing something. But if we're going to be guiltless and perfect in the eyes of the Most High, you wait. That's the difference. It was one thing to sit back here and read that verse again. I'm going to bring out a point.
Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath.
Give place for wrath. It's like David said, if I sit back here and I attack Saul, no different than if he sat back here and attacked Nadal, when the guy that treated him with disrespect. There was going to be guilt on his hands, regardless if he had a justified reason to do it. And this is what the Most High is teaching us. Even if you think you have a justified reason, what's more valuable and what's more important is that you're guiltless. Read verse 19 again.
Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath.
Give place unto wrath. Wrath needs to get set aside and pushed in the back. Read on.
For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord.
Read on. So Most High said, vengeance is his. He's going to sit back here and get his back. He's going to punish the negative people. You holding on to it doesn't make you guiltless. It makes you weak. If you give in. Read on.
Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, though, shall heap coals of fire on his head.
God. Read on, because what's the point? Why do you sit back here and give back to somebody who's treating you like crap? There's a reason. Read on.
Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good.
When you take matters into your own hands, really, truly, you're being overcome with evil. You've let negative and what people have done to you override you and overcome you, and it breaks you. When I finally react and I pull the trigger and I respond, all it shows is that I let another person's negative turn and change me. It's better to stay away, stay back, and protect your outlook. Protect your sincerity of effort, love, and consideration.
You know, it's almost a lack of faith too.
Huh?
Because what that shows is that I didn't really believe in the Most High, so I just took matters on my own hands.
Huh?
You know what I'm saying? So it's really a disconnection from the Most High. And also when it says give place for wrath, it's not your wrath, it's the Most High's wrath. And I just want to show this in the scripture. Go to Micah chapter 7 verse 8 real quick.
Huh?
Because we just read earlier where in the scripture where he says, wait on me. The Most High said, wait on me. I'll be the one to revenge. Read that in Micah chapter 7 verse 8. Same thing is saying here. Go ahead.
Micah chapter 7 and verse 8.
Micah.
Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy.
Go ahead.
When I fall, I shall arise.
Read verse 7 for me real quick.
Come on. Verse 7. Therefore I will look unto the Lord.
He says, therefore I will look unto who?
The Most High.
When you feel like you've been wronged, or you feel like somebody's been an adversary or enemy or opponent against you, you still have to have patience on the Most High and not try to take matters in your own hands. That's why he's telling you what?
Says, I will look unto the Lord. I will wait for the power of my salvation.
Read on.
My power will hear me.
He said the Most High will hear me. He said the most. So when your back is against the wall and you're being antagonized, all you have to do is wait on the Most High. It's not like the Most High doesn't see it and he won't defend you. Read on.
Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy.
That's why he said even when you're not supposed to rejoice over your enemy, and your enemy ain't supposed to rejoice over you. Matter of fact, hold this right quick. We're coming right back to it. Read Proverbs 24:17 real quick. Read Proverbs chapter 24 verse 17.
Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 17. Rejoice not when thine enemy falls.
That's why when your enemy fall, you're not supposed to be excited.
Yep.
Oh yes, finally, I'm justified. I'm vindicated.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I
Stage for everybody.
I feel better now that pressure's off my chest. You know, I had this weight on my chest. I had this weight on my mind. Now I could be freed up from this weight that was on my mind. It said, rejoice not when what?
Rejoice not when thine enemy falleth.
Read.
So that means I'm not supposed to take matters in my own hands to see to protect yourself, or not protect, that's the wrong choice of words, but to get myself out of a difficult situation. I'm not supposed to do that. And then I'm not supposed to even be happy that my enemy falls.
Yeah.
What's the big picture why? Because that person that's doing me wrong or has conceived negative in their mind, they're still the Lord's what? Servant and their child. So what the Most High's servant or child does to me ain't got nothing to do with me. The Most High is going to deal with his child, with his children. I got to focus on me. This is how I learned to detach myself from vindication. It's still a form of desire for control. Like you said also, control, a lack of faith, a lack of belief. The Most High is looking after me. But why does a person feel the Most High is not looking after me? Because I have to wait for a long period of time. Yes, sis?
So when you say you're not supposed to be happy when, say if an enemy did something wrong to you, and you're not supposed to be happy when they fall, so are you not just supposed to have any type of like emotion towards it? Because what if that person really did you really harm, and you're just like, about time this happened because you deserve it? So is that me thinking wrong, or?
My question is, why do you deserve them to fall? Why do you deserve it? Because we got to ask ourselves, why are we going through? Why do we suffer? Why does each and every individual on earth suffer? We have to look at it layered. Like, okay, why do I suffer? And then why does the Most High send certain individuals around me to be the person who brings the suffering? Whether it's the person that brings the suffering or it's the fact that I'm suffering, I have to always go back to the fact that who let this happen? And what actions did I do to put me in a situation to where I have to suffer? What it is you said it kind of right about not having emotions about it. But how does a person learn to detach emotionally from a situation? A person learns to detach emotionally when you start to process the whys. Process the steps that I took to get to these situations.
You know, that should also bring more fear to me when I do see my enemy fall, because that means that I'm on the hook as well. I'm on the hook just like they're on the hook. Everybody's on the hook. That also brings more fear to let me know that nobody gets away with nothing.
Okay.
That's why it's no need for me to rejoice, because today is their fall, but tomorrow it could be my fault.
Exactly. It's not like I've been some church mouse,
Right.
some angel leading up to these days.
Right.
So is tomorrow going to be the day that I have to sit back here and pay up for all of my negative? And this is why the Most High is like, you can focus on rejoicing about this person sinning. What about the sins you were doing? The people that you hurt, people that you took advantage of.
We have our own list of people we've offended.
Huh?
And so you have to relate to people that are negative or sin against you, because listen, it's very easy to go in somebody's shoes and be the same person.
And also that would also elevate me if I rejoice at their fall as if I was better than that person.
Yep.
And that's what, matter of fact, read that right there. Read 17 again, Proverbs 24.
Come. Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 17.
And read verse 18 also. Read on.
Come.
Read on 18. Go ahead.
Rejoice not when thine enemy falleth.
Go ahead.
And let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth.
Go ahead.
Lest the Most High see it.
Lest the Most High see it. When the Most High see that, oh, you're excited because I'm making this person fall. When actually, just as much as he deserved to fall, you deserve to fall too. He said, lest the Most High see it, then what?
And it displease him.
And it displeases the Most High when we rejoice at the fall of our enemies, because it's not like we were more righteous than they were. It was just that the Most High executed judgment on that person. Therefore, I should be more afraid, because I see how the Most High brought that person that was standing against me down. I should be even that much more afraid of the Most High and making sure that I don't offend anybody else. Because just as much as that person got brought down, the Most High could bring me down as well. And so it displeases the Most High, because it would almost seem like I was more just. I was more righteous. And that's why that person fell. You were corrupt. You deserve it. That's what you get.
You're the wicked, and I'm playing the part of the righteous.
Right, because it builds pride. It builds pride in us when our enemies fall, as if we were righteous at that point. No, it wasn't that. It's just that the Most High is just on both sides. Now go to Micah chapter 7 and read verse 8 down. Read 8 on down.
Micah chapter 7 and verse 8. Rejoice not against me.
And it goes both ways. You're not supposed to be happy when your enemy fall, but your enemy ain't supposed to be happy when you fall. So if you slip and you slip up and you take a loss or you take an L, there's no joy. They're not supposed to get joy out of that either. Because you know why? Because just as much as they slip, how often do we slip?
Right.
How many times do we make mistakes? Yes.
So instead of being joyful that they fall, should you be kind of thankful that they fall and thankful for the mercy the Most High is giving to you?
Yeah,
when you fall, you thank Him for kind of putting out there what your maybe insecurities or downfalls were. So He checked them first to make you realize that this could be you. So you be thankful that it wasn't, and when it's your turn, be thankful that He showed you your mishaps.
Yeah, I would be afraid. I'd be that much more afraid.
Yeah.
Because that just shows that the Most High is just, and the Most High passes judgment, and that the Most High is watching. Just like the Most High passed judgment and watching them, the Most High is watching me also.
Yeah.
That fear is like, man, that could be me too. And how much more do I deserve to slip up and fall, and the Most High pass judgment on me? Right. We make buku mistakes. Read on.
It says, "On mine enemy, when I fall,
go ahead.
I shall arise."
He said, but this is what he's saying. There's no need for your enemy to rejoice when you fall, because it's up to the Most High to put you back on your feet. Go ahead.
"When I sit in darkness, the Most High shall be a light unto me."
He says, when I sit in darkness, the Most High is going to be a what?
A light.
So the Most High can bring me right back. He can recover me right back out of that situation, and the roles can reverse. And that's why we read in Proverbs how when it displeased the Most High, if we rejoice over the fall of our enemies, the Most High can make those roles reverse. He can make you switch roles with your enemy. And now you are on top today, and then tomorrow you on the bottom. And then they were on the bottom today, and tomorrow they could be on top. And that the Most High's hand controls both. Okay. So there's no need for anybody to develop joy or pride or rejoicing in the fact that, oh, you're down today. Well, you know what? Tomorrow I could be down. And that person that was down today could be up tomorrow. Yes, sir.
I like what you're saying, because me, where I grew up from, in the projects, we was always in gang violence and stuff like that. Brothers shooting brothers and everything. And it's crazy because when you see somebody pass away due to violence or gang activity, they're laughing. But it's the crazy part, they're not laughing when that role is played on them as well.
Yeah.
They're on the news, or their family members on the news. They're not happy after that.
Yeah.
They're happy to see somebody that they had anger towards. They're happy on that, but they're not going to be smiling for too long when their own family pass away.
Yeah, they're going to be grieving when they hit home. And
I was going to say this. Mm-hmm. And I'm not changing anything you're saying. Listen, there's gangs in the cities. There's Israelite gangs. There's Israelites set tripping out. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. We have to fight our tails off to sit back here and let brothers do what they got to do, and let them focus on the groups and the brothers that they're teaching, and we focus on the brothers and sisters that we're teaching. Mm-hmm. Because that same mindset goes, that same wanting to see somebody fall, it still is in men's minds and camps. Mm-hmm. Because in a person's mind, they want to tell themselves, if one group or set of brothers fall, it means I was in the spirit all along.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's why a person would rejoice about another person falls. It's almost confirmation that you were a holy guy. And that's not even the case. If we sit back here and can understand this concept, instead of camp banging, instead of sitting back here and attacking another man's work, why don't we all realize the Most High is looking at each and every one of our works, and he's judging our works based upon our amount of talents, our ability, and how hard we're working to double our talents. And he's judging us, each and every one of us individually, based upon, are we sitting back here and striving for gold, silver, or precious stones in the work? If we can sit back here and look at that, there's enough work for each and every individual to keep themselves focused on their battle than looking at what a person does or doesn't do, or what has done to me in the past. That's the great equalizer. Because I can sit back here and look at another man and what he isn't doing, but maybe all he has to do, maybe he was given one talent, and all he has to do is produce 2 talents. So I can sit back and look at what this man's doing and say he's not doing enough. But you know what? If I was given 3 talents or 2 talents or 4 talents, I got to double 4 talents. Let me focus on doubling my 4 talents versus looking at how a man who's already doubled his 1 talent to 2 hasn't gotten to 4 like me. This is where there's a shallowness of mindset and there's ego involved. The Most High, listen, the greater they are, the greater of what you have to be.
Sir.
The more you are given, you better double up your work. You're on the hook because of what you know.
Right.
So there's no place for ego. The only place there is you better do more works, because Christ is coming back and he's looking at you for what you're doing. He's not had what another person has done or hasn't done or been judged, and it got nothing to do with you. Yes, sir.
And some people obsess their entire mind with, okay, once one person falls because they were negative and the Most High took them out for your sake, quote unquote, right? You've already trained your mind to have a list of people that offend you.
Right.
And so now, after that person goes, you're looking for the next person to go. And then, okay, I'm waiting for the next person to fall. And I'm waiting for the next person to fall. I end up training my mind and create this mental habit routine of just waiting for people to fall. Okay, the person's failed. Is that good enough for you? It's over now?
That doesn't mean anything for concerning what you got to fight.
Exactly. Like, the person failed.
You're still on the hook.
The person fell behind their own devices, their own wickedness has corrected them. Okay. But you know what? I've trained my mind just to sit and wait for other people's wickedness to correct them until my wickedness corrects me. And I'm like, okay, listen, I want forgiveness from the Most High. I want mercy. You should want your enemies to have mercy too.
Right.
And if the Most High stings them, he stings them. But if you have that pure mindset, I hope the Most High has mercy on this brother, then possibly the Most High have mercy on you. If you're hoping the Most High destroy this person's house, rip their person's life away, then when it happens to you, you can't. Y'all really in the same shoes.
You know what? When you got kids, and one of them gets whooped in front of the other one,
You like, he got spanked.
You know that's what kids do. You know, the kids be like, "Ooh, he getting whooped."
He's louder than me.
Yeah. I heard you crying. You crying like a baby. You know, when you got kids and kids are fighting each other, and one that's got caught gets whooped, and he's laughing and mocking at the other one, what do you do with the other one? You whoop him too. You know what I'm saying? Because you're no better than him. You make the same mistakes. You do the same stuff. We're children. We're still the Most High's children. So just as much as just because that person got stung, that person got spanked, that doesn't mean the Most High don't love him. So there's no need for you to laugh. That's just a result of like David said, you just as a result of your own wickedness. You know what I'm saying? That own wickedness shall correct thee. That little boy and little girl's getting spanked, and so there's no reason for the other child to mock at that fall.
Right. And
just to show that how the Most High can easily turn the tables, go to Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 4 in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 4. 4, 5, and 6. Read that.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 11 and verse 4. Boast not of thy clothing and raiment.
They said, boast not of thy what?
Clothing and raiment.
That's just talking about your status. Don't boast of your status. Just because you're looking good today and you got exceptional clothes on and it's above the par, He said, boast not of your clothes and your raiment. Read on.
And exalt not thyself.
It says, and exalt not thyself. Go ahead.
In the day of honor.
In the day of honor. Don't get too high up. A lot of times you feel like, the Most High removed my enemy, so that means I'm righteous.
Yep.
I'm on top because the Most High took away everybody that was standing against me. I'm on top. Read on.
It says, for the works of the Most High are wonderful.
It says, you never know what the Most High has in store. Just because you up one day, you don't know the total end of what the Most High has planned.
The works of the Most High are wonderful for him.
Yeah.
So the Most High wants judgment across the board. So it's a wonderful thing to see anybody who's off get stung. So your time is coming too.
Yeah. Read on.
And his works among men are hidden.
They said what the Most High is doing is what?
Are hidden.
You don't know why the Most High took that person out. You don't know why the Most High stung that person.
Stop making it about you.
Right. Exactly.
We're so simple-minded. Oh, that person's falling because of me. What they did to me.
Right.
Again, why are we so simple-minded and narrow-minded and have so much hubris? Think everything revolves around you.
It was because of what they did to me.
Yeah. This is vengeance. Most High is real.
Maybe they did to everybody. Maybe
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe they were doing to everybody. Most High said, man, I gotta take this person, man.
That's my point.
In the city.
We're so simple-minded with our little plight. Yes, sis?
So I know we're not supposed to find joy in all this, obviously our enemy falling, but why do we have a prayer for destruction on our enemy?
Because our enemy is supposed to be the enemies of our nation. Remember, you have enemies of Israel. You have different nations like Hamites that want us in slavery. You want Egyptians that want us in slavery. You want so-called Romans and Greeks that want us in slavery. Right? So we are praying against our nationalistic enemies, the people that are trying to destroy our children. But the Most High, Christ says, turn to the cheek for the enemies of your own people.
Yep.
So it's two types of enemies. There's the enemies of your nation that want to see your kids dead and see them fail in life or make your children slaves. And then there's also what? Your own people who just have petty differences and petty beefs against you because you said this and your hair's curlier than mine. And you think you know more than I do. And I'm from this city, you're from that city. We're from different sides of town. Very faint, light, low level, insignificant disagreements. So it's the difference between praying for the Most High to destroy someone because they want to destroy our children, our household, our way of life, and our ability to feed ourselves. And the person who sit here and has a problem with us since high school, or we remind them of someone they don't like in their past, they have an issue towards us. You remind me of someone I didn't like, or you outshine me this succession of days, you make me feel insecure, so I gotta get you back. I gotta make you feel the way you make me feel. In my mind. That's mental sickness. So the mental sicknesses amongst Israel, us offending each other based on our weaknesses, that has to be forgiven. Because we're all sick. But when you're dealing with nationalistic enemies that want to terrorize our people, it's a different story. We got to read and understand what is the difference. When David was praying, who was coming against David? Philistines, Edomites, Amalek, the fake Jews. These nations were coming at him, including his own people. When it came to his own people, he didn't pray for Saul to be destroyed. He cried when Saul died. You see how he changed his perspective when it came to his own people dying? But when it came to his enemies, he put them to death? And he didn't feel two things about it?
Now listen, because of what Saul kept trying to do to egg him on, is what made the battle harder to not want vengeance. We're not saying we're robots and understand that, what Saul was doing was pushing him to want to retaliate. Yeah. But he had to fight that urge to retaliate and take matters into his own hands. And he had to stay scripturally grounded. He had to stay scripturally and spiritually grounded to not give in to those his lesser self, like we have to do. You know what I mean?
And give me one more point.
Go for it. You good.
And also, everybody has an antagonist in their life. Everybody has some in the play of your life. There's always somebody who's an antagonist. There's always a person that's quote unquote the bad guy. And most I want to see, how do you allow people to change you? You let people change your perspective and your mind. Who's stronger? Is their negative stronger than your positivity?
Yeah.
That's the real question. Are you gonna let people change how you serve the Most High because they offend you? Most High really wants to see that. That's all I want to say about that one.
All facts.
You finish that in Ecclesiastes?
Come. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 5. Many kings have sat down upon the ground.
He's showing that people that were once up, he says, just as quick as they were up and as high as they may have been, they were sitting on the what?
Ground.
They were ground. So that means to be brought low. So the Most High is the one who controls whether a person rises or a person falls. That's the Most High's decision. That's not our decision. That's not our judgment. Sometimes we lie to ourselves and think that person is rising and falling because of what they've done to us. You know, and this is why the Most High got to pay that person back. This is why I deserve to laugh, because the Most High is defending me. Yes, he does, but the Most High is judging everybody in every situation. And when the rise and fall of anybody is the Most High's doing. That's not our doing. Read on.
And one that was never thought of have worn the crown.
And that's why it says he brought ones that was never thought of or feel like was deserving to wear a crown from the ground, from a nobody to somebody in charge. So he's showing you that the rise and fall is not our determination. So we shouldn't be so attached to this is why this person deserves this, or this is why this happened to this person. That's why he said this. We'll go back to Proverbs 27 and 24 and read verse 28.
Listen, you might want to finish verse 9.
Yeah, we're gonna come back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, read this right quick.
Proverbs chapter.
You're already in 24.
Come.
Read verse 28.
Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 28. Be not a witness against thy neighbor without cause.
And that's why he says you better examine the situations very clearly. You know, you gotta look. You gotta be able to look at your relationships very clearly, and look at how you judge people very clearly. Why is that? Read on.
And deceive not with thy lips.
Proverbs 28, 24 and 28. He said, and deceive not with thy what?
It says, and deceive not with thy lips.
The deceit that we have with our lips is we tell ourselves why this person failed. We're lying because we think we know why people rise and fall when we have no idea why they rise and fall. That's the Most High's doing. But that's a lie when I tell myself, well, this person failed, and this is why I deserve to rejoice. This is why I deserve to laugh. This is why I deserve to chuckle or get the best out of the situation, because the Most High loves me more than he loves them. That's why I said you gotta be able to look at situations very clearly and know that I don't determine who gets punished or who gets praised or who wears the crown or who gets put on the ground. That's not my decision. And if I tell myself that, I'm deceiving with my lips. Read on.
Okay. Say not.
And if I have that mentality, if I do have that mentality, like, you know what, this person deserved it because the Most High is defending me, that will also drive me to do what? Read on.
It says, say not, I will do so to him as he had done to me.
And see, I'm gonna get this person back. That now I deserve payback. Cause see, if I start lying to myself and feel like, you know what, this person wronged me, so I'm just to execute judgment in return, or to take vengeance upon my own hand, or I'm just to laugh when this person fails. You know what I'm saying? That person, that drives the mentality of a person that wants revenge. That feeds that idea that I deserve revenge. It feeds the idea that I deserve to see this person fail. That's why I said, say not what?
It says, say not, I will do so to him as he hath done to me.
You know what? We don't have the power to take matters in our own hands. But if I look at a person the wrong way, I'll start to take matters in my own hands. If I look at the fact that, you know what, this person deserves this, so I'm going to get them back because the Most High is going to let me get my vengeance. I need my vengeance in order to breathe. You know, we talked to many people that have been sexually molested, and we got many brothers and sisters that say, you know what? When I see that person die, I'll feel better. Now I'll feel better because the Most High removed that person out of my life. But is that just? It's not. You know what I'm saying? I just can't wait till the Most High because that person hurt me. So when the Most High gets that person out of my life or hurts that person, I want to see them hurt like they hurt me. Right? But the Most High says, say not what?
It says, say not, I will do so to him as he have done to me.
I'm gonna hurt you like you hurt me. All I'm doing now is perpetuating evil. That's that gang violence. I'm just perpetuating evil. You shot my homie on my block, so I'm gonna come out, ride up, and circle around your block, and hit your block up. Now I'm perpetuating evil.
Can I make one point? What you're saying? And also, as far as I'm gonna end up living in misery, waiting for this person to sit here and die.
Right.
I'm waiting in misery.
Yep, the whole time.
I'm talking about waiting for that person who disturbed that person
right.
in an intimate way. Now I gotta sit here and wait the rest of my life and live in darkness, and I gotta be dismal and live in darkness until something happens to this person.
Right. So the whole time I'm wasting my own life away waiting for somebody else to fall that hurt me.
I might wait 30 years.
Yep.
I might be unhappy for 30 years waiting for this person. I wasted 30 years of my life waiting for this person something to happen. I just lost 30 years of my life.
You're still a victim.
Huh?
Yeah.
Even though it's not happening, you're still the victim. You're still their victim because you're still waiting for that punishment. But
who knows when it's gonna come?
Exactly. So you're still letting that person control how you do things.
And so I'm not even able to heal correctly because I'm waiting for the fall of my enemy.
Exactly.
Right.
Read on.
It says,
Tom, before that, yeah. Keep going.
I will render to the man according to his work.
But the Most High said, listen, I will render to the man according to his work.
Right.
This is my doing. I'll pay this person back. I'll return vengeance upon that person's head. That's not for you to wait for. That's why the Most High said, wait on me.
Right.
That's not for you to wait on for the fall of your enemy. You're supposed to just heal, recover, and then become an advocate for people who's been hurt like you in the recovery process.
Okay.
You're supposed to advocate for your pain for people that share like-minded pain and show them how to heal and how to properly assess the situation. You know, go back to finish that in Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and read verse 9 and 10. I'm sorry. We was in Ecclesiastes 11.
It was verse 7. I think
6.
we stopped. Yeah. Yeah.
Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 6. Many mighty men have been greatly disgraced.
And that's why I said many people that have been mighty, strong, on top, above, sitting on high, have been what?
Disgraced.
Go ahead.
And the honorable delivered into other men's hands.
Go ahead.
Blame not before thou hast examined the truth.
Read on.
Understand first and then rebuke.
He said that's why you gotta look at this is why David didn't take matters in his own hands. He could have easily killed Saul several times. And he chose not to because he understood, man, vengeance don't belong to me. Vengeance belongs to the Most High.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be urged. David's men was mighty men, man. They were killers, trained killers. They were itching David, compelling David, hey, brother, go ahead and take this man out, man. They were telling David, this is the Lord delivering your enemy in your hand.
This is your chance
This
to
is
get
your
on
chance,
top.
bro.
Yep.
He could have easily took that advice, but that's what the scripture says, blame not before thou hast examined. He said, no, I'm not. Let me examine this, man. The Most High set this man up. The Most High is the one that's going to bring this man down.
Yep.
Everybody's going to be tried based on their own work. It's not up to me to take vengeance on my own hands.
Because once you get the understanding, then you realize that even he explained it in Psalm 73, how he almost slipped. But then he sat back here and looked at the sanctuary of the Most High and realized that, you know what, the Most High was in control of this. That's how you get the understanding before you rebuke, before you retaliate. Okay, we keep going.
Yeah, go ahead. No, that's it. That's it right there. Go back to finish that in Proverbs 24, and we was at verse 18.
Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 18.
Yeah.
Reads, lest the Most High see it and it displease him.
It said the Most High could see how you're rejoicing on the fall of your enemy. And the Most High, you have this justification, or you have this pride about yourself, like, you know what, I'm better than this person, or you know what I'm saying, the Most High, this person deserves that fall.
Right.
And it could do what?
It says,
This is good.
and he turned away his wrath from him.
God.
It said, and he turned away his what?
His wrath from him.
That's right. And the Most High will turn away his wrath from him. So if the Most High turn away his wrath from your enemy, who is he going to turn it on?
You.
He's going to turn it on you.
That's true.
Because we're not the ones to play the judge, jury, and the executioner.
Mm-hmm.
That's not our call. You know, that's not our job. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, and that also trains a person to be malicious towards somebody who has extreme hatred for that other person. You know, when they done something so wrong to them, they just hating them tremendously. It's an extreme hatred towards them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you know, like in Wisdom of Solomon, where it says, "For a malicious soul shall not, wisdom shall not enter into that person." You know what I'm saying? So instead of looking at somebody like that, like how you were saying earlier, we have to look at it as like, if they're on that same position where the Most High is going to rebuke them or whatnot, then why would I think I'm not going to get that same treatment? Why would I think that I'm justified enough, or I'm on the cool side of things where that's not going to happen to me? Like I'm perfect.
But people think that if I see a person fall, I'm gonna learn mercy and forgiveness inside. Mm-hmm. And that's where the disconnect is. Yeah. I can see a person fall all damn day long. I'm still gonna carry a resentment for what was done to me until I learn to let that go. And this is why the Most High, that's the lesson we're supposed to learn anyway. I have to forgive a person before a person apologizes to me. I have to forgive a person because more than likely you're not going to get that person who offended you to apologize to you. You're not going to get that. It's just not going to happen. So it's up to me to get in this book and to learn to forgive people who did me wrong, and then allow the Most High to rain judgment on whoever he's going to do, however he's going to do it. Mm-hmm. But I can't wait for somebody to sit back here and fall before I start working on what's inside of me internally.
Yep. Because then I'm just gonna be smoking my life away, or drinking my life away, or trying to
burning other bridges, hurting other people around me,
right?
Using different coping mechanisms to deal with the pain. When you got to move forward.
Go to Ecclesiasticus 8 and 7 real quick. The brother pulled a good verse. Ecclesiasticus 8 and 7.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 8 and verse 7. Rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead.
All facts. Listen, this is why David was explaining, I'm not going to take matters into my own hands with Saul. I'm not going to, and when Saul ended up dying, he didn't sit back here and find complete happiness in this man dying. We're never supposed to sit back and rejoice in the fall of somebody else. Read on.
But remember that we die all.
All of us die. And all of us fall. So we better sit back here and make sure we keep on our P's and Q's spiritually, to make sure that we stay honorable and make the right decisions with the people around us, and we don't offend the people around us.
And it's a lot of time wasted and a lot of mental energy invested in waiting for someone to collapse.
Exactly.
That takes hours. You know what I'm saying?
Years. It takes years.
Listen, I'm saying hours in the short term, because years. Years. Listen, bro.
But listen. I'm sorry.
No, what you saying? I'm just saying. You know how much time goes into thinking about why the Most High defend me?
Listen, I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you go and say something. Is it something that's hitting me as you're going?
Go do what you gotta do.
I was just saying. David got the kingdom and the throne at 30, right? David was 30 when he got the kingdom. When did he kill Goliath? Nobody knows the exact year, right? Yeah, but he was under warrior age, right? Yeah. He was a teenager, right? Let's just throw a number up. 16. 16, yeah. Let's say he was 16. 16, he was anointed king of Hebron. Let's say between 15 and 16, you're the man. You're the man.
Bounce.
You won. Guess what? You won. And you wait 15 to 14 years before you're anointed the king, and you're on the run for at least 12 to 10 of those years. You're a fugitive.
That's a hard life.
12 to 10 years. I'm giving an approximation. I'm sorry for eating so hard. But 10 to 12 years you're on the run, and you didn't do nothing wrong. And this was a lesson he had to learn. You have to wait, and the Most High had him wait. He could have easily said, man, Saul is the reason I'm on the run. But he had to constantly be in the book and be reminded. The Most High had him wait for 12 to 14 years before he was going to get the kingdom. Mm-hmm. And can we learn to wait? The Most High had, listen, the pattern of leadership towards the end times was supposed to be David. You know that, right? Until Christ came. David was going to be our king at the end until Christ became our king. So David was the temple. He was the chosen one. And he had to wait 14 years before he got in position of power.
And can I make this point?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a parallel of Jacob. Jacob, our forefather, was being taken advantage by Laban for 14 to 15 years. Around the same approximate time period. He's like, listen, this is already my rib. This is already.
Yeah. You got 14-year hoes, that.
Can I live my life right now? Can I live my life, bro? I've served your house.
No, he didn't wait 20. He didn't wait 20.
I know.
It was 7, and then 6 more.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like the first 7 years is cool.
But it wasn't until like.
But if it was for Rachel,
years,
if it was for Rachel, I don't want to wait 7 years.
Okay.
No problem. I expect I have to put the work in. That's not unfair.
Remember he said in Josephus he was fainting that.
Yeah.
He was. he was out here busting his tail out in these streets with these sheep.
He said in the heat of the day.
In the cold of the night.
That means you were uncomfortable all the time.
It's a lot of work, man.
It's a lot of work,
You're always working. You don't have a life. You're aging.
He doesn't have
You smell like sheep all day. You smell like sheep. I don't care anybody says, bro.
You're fighting off foxes and wolves.
You smell like outside all the time. And
I think everybody did though.
And so I'm just saying, especially with animals though. Especially with animals.
I know. I'm messing with you.
The field hands smell like field hands. You're always working. You're always grinding. You're always tired. You're always uncomfortable. You're always cold. And then you do all this for your master, and then your master is like, I got you. You know I got you, right? All that time.
I'm going to throw another 7 on you.
I'm going to keep trying to clip you in to keep benefiting me, but you can never benefit yourself.
Yeah.
And can you serve this person in a pure spirit without the spirit of desiring vengeance? You don't think he wanted revenge, huh?
Yeah. He was getting hustled.
Well, I
7 and 14, another 6 on top of that.
He got him for a good dub, huh? He got him for a
He
good
got
life.
paid.
Just like David.
He got rich off of him too. He got rich off of him.
Exactly. His whole posterity was wealthy, and he could, if he had that. I'm sorry, LeBron. But if he had that revenge mind out, he couldn't have finished his time out. He couldn't have finished the time period he was supposed to suffer. That revenge mindset kills your ability to suffer righteously.
Yep.
So the Most High puts the greats through all his 15-year/20-year waits. That's the Most High's way of teaching.
It's teaching, and also it's teaching, and he's also trying to see where your heart is.
Right. And you can say that's a process of being tempered. The Most High is tempering you to be able to withstand that type of, underhandedness of man to determine where your heart is at. That's the Most High tempering David. He tempered, even Joseph being in prison. Even Joseph being in prison, he was tempering Joseph. Let me see where your heart is at while you're suffering.
Oh, wow.
Suffering is not a bad thing, man.
Nope.
Suffering is a good thing.
You know why suffering is a
look
good
at
thing?
it, right?
Suffering's a good thing because if this individual suffers, maybe he'll learn how to treat the next generation the right way.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to learn. David understood suffering so that he would sit back here and not put the next group of people under what he went through.
Right.
That's why you go through it. It goes two ways. It's okay. When this person is suffering, I can determine where this person's heart is at. I can see if they're true to serving me. That's one. And then from these experiences, if you learn from the right way, you'll sit back here and be a more considerate leader yourself. That's what happened with Christ in the book of Hebrews chapter 2. He said it behooved him to be like his brother. Mm-hmm. But in the process of him being like his brother, he was more merciful and understanding.
Yep.
So we have to go through these difficulties. We have to go through these ups and downs to learn how to be merciful to the next group of people that we have to teach and deal with. So somebody has to reverse the mismanagement. Somebody has to reverse the mistreatment. So somebody has to take the issues, go through the problems, look at it the right way, stay spiritual, and be better for the next group of people so they can sit back here and enjoy what you didn't get a chance to enjoy. Can you deal with that?
Or if you're a wife, you gotta suffer the mistakes of your husband until he get it right.
Yep.
Until he becomes a better husband.
And then you know what happened? Then the husband might learn from all the ups and downs from the first rib and be a better husband to the second rib. How about them apples? How about them apples? He'll be more considerate, be a better listener to rib 2. You're like, what the hell just happened?
Yep.
Or now you're Mr. Understanding and consideration. Now we want to counsel. Now we're going to counsel.
If I would have did that,
I would have been cussed out. You would have cussed me out.
All hell would have broke loose. If I would have talked to you like that sister talking to you.
Yep. You wouldn't have sit back here and try to understand nothing. You would have had my clothes outside, I'm ready to go, kicking me to the curb. But the point is this: are we willing to be that willing sacrifice? Are we willing to sit back here and go through the lessons that you have to go through so you can learn to cleave to the Most High? It ain't about nobody else but you. And this is the challenge. Can we focus on what the Most High is teaching us so we can be potent for the Most High? Anyway, let's get back on topic, man. We could be talking this topic all dang day long. Let's go to Proverbs. No, not Proverbs. I'm sorry. Let's get back to 1 Samuel 26 and verse 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 10. David said furthermore, as the Most High liveth, the Most High shall smite him.
The Most High is going to sit back here and bring about the vengeance that I'm looking for. Matter of fact, where is that verse? Let me see. Give me 1 second, y'all.
But you see how David knew the Most High will show you a person's fallout, but it's not for you to rejoice about.
Yep.
The Most High showed David. David predicted the fall of Saul, right?
Yep.
But it wasn't sitting here and say, "Oh, I can't wait, man. I can't wait for that day." It'd be a beautiful day when Saul falls in battle. It's actually a national tragedy. Right?
The thing is, there's no
He finds
no
joy
benefit
in
after
protecting
that.
his children
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
and looking after his
Listen,
sons.
bro, it's not going to make him any sharper to the Father.
Exactly.
And closer to the Most High. The goal is getting close to the Most High.
Hey, listen, go to 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6. 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6.
2 Thessalonians chapter 1 and verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you.
The Most High is going to do it, though. It ain't righteous for you to do it.
Right.
It ain't righteous for you to take matters in your own hands. It's righteous that the Most High is going to sit back here and come through and recompense tribulation to people who did you wrong. But don't take this and say, oh yeah, it's righteous for me to do it. The Most High is going to do it. And can I sit back here and just trust that He's going to sit back here and come through for me when I need it? Mm-hmm. That's the point. And this is what David understood. He said the Most High is going to remove Saul. I'm not going to worry about it. I accept that. I accept He's going to do it when He's ready to do it. I know He's negative. I know He's off. But it's not up to me to even start giving my mind to that situation.
You know,
what you're going to see down the line, he just sits back here and starts making preparation for clearing out his empire. You're going to see, I'm not going to go too much into it, but very soon, he's going to end up living with the Philistines for a little bit. And while he's living with the Philistines, he just starts to clear out all the enemies south of him. Why the hell is he doing that? Because, you know what, while I'm waiting, let me sit back here and clear my empire out of it. Until the Most High gets rid of this guy. Let me take out all these guys from the south in the Arabias. Everybody below Judah, he wiped out. And the king was like, what are you doing? Oh, nothing. Here's some tights, man. Here's some help. Here's some support. I'll give you a little piece of what we did. I'm not taking y'all Philistines out. I'm going to take everybody below. I'm going to get ready. But what are we supposed to do while we're waiting? While we're waiting for the Most High to remove issues and situations from us, we're supposed to clean house in our spirit. And work on what's inside of me. And work on the filth inside of me while I'm waiting for the Most High to eliminate what's in front of me away from me. All we have control over is what's inside of us. So let me fix what's inside of me while I'm waiting for the Most High to eliminate the big thing around me. Versus stewing and being angry about what I can't control. Focus on what I can control. I'm going to take these Saudis out. I'm going to take these Girgashites out. All these Amalekites. I'm going to keep wiping these guys out while I'm waiting for the Most High to remove Saul from me. That's the thinking. That's how you're supposed to pass the time. Let me do constructive goals. Constructive spiritual goals that I have to work on inside of me while I'm waiting for the Most High to remove this big elephant out the room. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Anybody have something else to say?
No. I was just saying that you can't be critical of. You can't become critical of the person in charge of your elders because you don't know ultimately what the Most High is doing. Right. And so, looking at what David said right here in verse 10, man, that David already committed in his mind that he wasn't going to touch Saul. It was already solidified in his thought process. Yep. I'm going to leave this man alone. I'm going to be hands off. Whatever this man is doing, that's what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? If he's making a mistake, that's on him. Yep. That's not on me. But that's all I want to bring out.
So let's keep going in Psalm.
Verse 10 again.
Mm-hmm. 1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 10. David said, furthermore, as the Most High liveth, the Most High shall smite him.
The Most High will do it, not me. The Most High takes pleasure in avenging the people that have done wrong. Read on.
Or his day shall come to die.
Good.
Or he shall descend into battle and perish.
One way or the other, the Most High is going to take him out. I don't need to focus on how, when he got it. Read on.
The Most High forbid that I should stretch forth mine hand against the Most High's anointed. But I pray thee, take thou now the spear that is in his bolster and the cruse of water, and let us go.
He says, the reason I want you to take this spear and this water is to show him again that I could have sat back here and hurt you, but I choose not to do it.
That was David's way of turning the other cheek.
But once again, what earned David's greatness? Remember, Saul said, "You are numbered with the ancients." Your virtue is that of the ancients. These situations separate good men from great men. What David is doing separates him from being a good man to being a great man. And this is what we all should be striving for in Christ. Do you want to be okay, good, or great? How the Most High determines who you are as an individual determines about the decisions that you make. What made David great was how long he was able to wait and stay in the right spirit.
That particular virtue is called meekness.
Meekness, patience, faith, long-suffering. It encompasses so many things. And so many virtues you have to have. Temperance in order to do this the right way. A decade on the run, at the least. A decade? After having a taste of being around the royal palace? That makes it even worse. Because he was already from humble, meek beginnings. Then you get elevated quickly. And then you're on the run. And almost a carnal person would say, oh, you're playing with my mind. You're messing with me. Father, you're messing with me. But what he had and how he carried himself is why he was positioned to be the head for so long. Okay? Let's keep going.
Verse 12.
One scripture. Just on that point which you brought out. Hebrews 5 and 2 it is? Is it Hebrews 5 and 2?
Maybe.
Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 2.
No, Hebrews 13 and 2. I'm sorry. Hebrews 13 and 2. Read that.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 2. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares.
So what is the Most High showing you? He's showing you that those opportunities, the Most High always presents opportunities in front of you, just to determine your actions, just to determine what's in you. So that entertainment that he's talking about is to entertain strangers. That's the definition of hospitality. Hospitality is a form of love. So what he's saying is, here's an opportunity for you to show somebody love, and you didn't even know that there was a blessing or reward coming from it, showing that the Most High always presents opportunities to see what virtue you possess. Just like the Most High put the opportunity for David, it was no fluke that Saul had to use the bathroom at the same time that David was hidden in the cave, that he had to go cover his feet, and then David was in the cave that this man was using the bathroom in. That was no accident. That opportunity was there to determine what was in David's heart.
His character.
That was an opportunity. This opportunity that they ran up on David when he was Saul, when he was asleep in his tent, and his spear was right next to him. The Most High was trying to judge his character. Same thing that happens when there's hospitality, a chance to show somebody love. Somebody has a particular need. Do you have the desire to fill it? Do you have the desire to alleviate that person from their suffering and their pain? That was your opportunity. And a lot of people they don't see these things as opportunity to execute virtue.
I'm getting aggravated again. This is another slight. I'm going through some more hell. This is always unfair. Why is all these things happening to me? Because they don't understand the nature of the Most High. The nature of the Most High is putting you in scenarios like this to give you an opportunity to show the Most High that you want to cleave to Him. But we can't focus. We can't get past how these difficult situations make us feel. We're so sensual. We haven't learned to look past how things make us feel and focus on making the right decisions to please the Heavenly Father.
You had a question, sis?
No, I was just saying that the Most High pretty much wants you to be consistent, like across the board, with your character towards everyone. He wants you to be the same way you are with your brother as you would with a stranger.
God.
To determine what's in you.
To determine what's in you. If it be so, be at peace with all men.
Well, especially if you didn't even know that an angel was amongst you, and you had an opportunity to get blessed or rewarded by doing a good deed. If you were agitated at that person, at the sight of that person, if you were grieved at extending your hand, then you lost out on a blessing. You lost out on an opportunity because of what's inside of you. And that's what the Most High uses. A lot of things that may seem like coincidences or out of the blue moments to determine what's inside of you. Whether it's opportunity to revenge your enemies or an opportunity to get blessed by an angel by showing hospitality. The Most High presents these things in front of us, but it's up to us to determine what is this? What is this that the Most High is doing? To a carnal man, he's going to judge it carnally. Shit, this is my chance to get revenge. For a spiritual-minded man, that's the Most High's anointed. For a carnal-minded man, who's this bum asking me for change? For a spiritual-minded man, that could be an angel.
Or the carnal-minded man is always looking for an opportunity to relieve stress, because that's really what's happening. Him killing Saul was an opportunity to relieve pressure, to take the pressure and stress off his head. So if you're going to look at things in a spiritual light, when I every opportunity I'm trying to look for a break, for a mental break, a relaxation, that normally is you feeding the flesh. Versus embracing the fact that if you want to stay connected spiritually, stop looking for the break. Stop looking for the easy answer. Stop looking for comfort. Stop pursuing and chasing comfort. And be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how you stay connected to the Spirit. I'm sorry.
No, that was it.
So let's keep going in Psalms. First Samuel. Keep saying Psalms. 1 Samuel 2 and 12. 26 and 12.
1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 12. So David took the spear and the cruse of water from Saul's bolster, and they gat them away, and no man saw it, nor knew it, neither awake.
That's not normal. You have all these men surrounding your guy, and they're all knocked out, snoring, and you sit back here and you slip up and you leave your king exposed. there was supposed to be a watch. Different people were supposed to be up at different times of the night to make sure that the king was watched. Read on.
It says, for they were all asleep, because a deep sleep from the Most High was fallen upon them.
But once again, what it's also showing you is when you do things the right way and stay in order, that allows the Most High to keep protecting you. When you don't take, listen, it goes back to, we read it a couple weeks ago about power and the desire of power, and the more power you have, the less you rely on the Most High. He's showing you when you give up power, when you rescind power, when you take matters out of your own control, you allow the Most High to come through for you. When you take matters in your own hands, you're pushing the Most High away. I don't know if y'all see what I'm saying. If he would have took matters into his own hands, then why would the Most High have to put the spirit of deep sleep on his people? He wouldn't have. He would have been in a full-fledged war now. But because he stayed in order and made the decision that I'm not going to kill this man, then the Most High intercedes. And puts the spirit. What's that?
If you defend yourself, then why would the Most High have to defend you if you're too busy defending yourself?
The Most High is not going to defend you. If you're going to defend yourself, then he's not going to defend you.
There's no need for the Most High to defend you.
If you choose not to defend yourself, then you give place for the Most High to defend you. That's how it works. He wouldn't have put that spirit of deep sleep on him if he was going to kill him. Somebody would have heard it. They would have been fighting.
Right.
Now, then David, you better be a skilled fighter. You better man up and take out all of his top dogs, Abner included, before you get to Saul. You get the point?
Yeah.
When you take matters into your own hands, he doesn't come through. When you give up that control, he's able to sit back here and come through for you. That's the game. That's the point. And this is why he was saying the rich man, the person who has all the resources and money and finances and options, or if that person is comfortable, if a man is comfortable, there's less of a need for the Most High. When a man is in need, then the Most High becomes prevalent. This is the same thing. Can I sit back here and constantly put myself in situations where I need the Most High? Can I continue to choose not to feed my flesh, not to take matters into my own hands so the Most High can intercede there for me?
Right.
There has to be a willingness to remove yourself to allow the Most High to come through for you. Does that make sense?
Right.
All right, let's keep going.
Okay. Verse 13. Then David went over to the other side and stood on the top of an hill afar off, a great space between them.
So he made sure that if they sat back here and woke up, he can still talk to them, but they can't go chase him and actually be successful in chasing him. He took the cruse of water and the staff. Or not the staff, but the javelin. Read on.
And David cried to the people and to Abner, the son of Ner.
Abner was supposed to protect him. That's why he's checking Abner a little bit. Read on.
Saying, answerest thou not, Abner? Then Abner answered and said, who art thou that criest to the king?
Who is you, man? Talking to the king. Who is you talking to the king? Read on.
And David said to Abner, art not thou a valiant man?
Now he's going at. I thought you was the captain of the house.
Yeah.
I thought you was the head man in charge. HNIC. Read on.
And who is like to thee in Israel?
I thought you was a great valiant man that was wiping out Philistines left and right. Read on.
Wherefore, when thou hast not kept thy lord the king.
Wherefore then.
Wherefore then.
Why haven't you?
For there came one of the people and to destroy the king thy lord.
He said, how come you didn't look after the king? Somebody came in and took some things from him. He could have killed him. Read on.
This thing is not good that thou hast done.
That's not a good look, Abner. How come you weren't awake? How come you weren't looking at the men? Looking after your men. Looking after your king. Read on.
As the Most High liveth, ye are worthy to die.
He said, that was an offense punishable by death, my dude. Leaving your king exposed. Read on.
Because ye have not kept your master, the Most High's anointed. And now see where the king's spear is, and the cruse of water that was at his bolster.
He said, it's mine. It's in my hand. So they getting up like, damn, bro, this dude caught us slipping. He's like, this dude, Abner's like, this guy caught us slipping. Like, damn, man. Read on.
And Saul.
He's saying he's telling the whole crew out, you slipping, Abner. You slipping. Read on.
That Bill Duke figure.
Yeah, that Bill Duke figure. You know you done messed up, right?
Yeah.
You know you done messed up.
Where was you at?
You had to point it like this.
Yeah. Where was you at 9:45?
And he said, see, now I got you. Because you just said something earlier different. Anyway, let me stop. Great scene. Anyway, but keep going.
Verse 17. And Saul knew David's voice and said, is this thy voice, my son David?
You see, I'm telling you, Saul is like in and out of this dude is psycho 80% of the time. He's like, David, my son, you should have killed this man. Now he's your son? He's really thrown off. Now it's the family conversation again. He said they were family before and he came back to kill him again. Anyway, keep going.
And David said, it is my voice, my lord, O king. And he said, wherefore doth my lord thus pursue after his servant?
David's like, why do you keep going after me? Read on.
For what have I done? Or what evil is in my hand?
What did I do to you that you keep going after me? Read on.
Now therefore I pray thee, let my lord the king hear the words of his servant. If the Most High has stirred thee up against me, let him accept an offering. But if they be the children of men, cursed be they before the Most High.
He said, if I did something, I get it. But if you're just going off what other people are saying, then curse them. The reality is he was going off what he was saying and what people were saying. Read on.
For they have driven me out this day from abiding in the inheritance of the Most High, saying, go, serve other gods. Mm-hmm. Now therefore, let not my blood fall to the earth before the face of the Heavenly Father. For the King of Israel is come out to seek a flea, as when one doth hunt a partridge in the mountains.
He said, I'm small time in the big picture of things. You're out here sitting like you're trying to go after a flea. I'm nothing. I didn't do anything. Read on.
Verse 21. Then said Saul, I have sinned. Return, my son David, for I will no more do thee harm, because my soul was precious in thine eyes.
No, you can't believe that statement. Like you said, go last time.
Unstable.
You can't. He's really unstable.
He just feels a certain way.
He said, sorry, man, I feel bad. Go.
Yeah.
You're free, David. You're free. He said it like a couple weeks ago.
You can't trust him.
You can't. You don't read what he does afterwards to tell that David don't trust it. He can't. Read on.
Behold, I have played the fool and have erred exceedingly. And David answered and said, behold, the king's spear.
Here's your spear, man. Read on.
And let one of the young men come over and fetch it. The Most High render to every man his righteousness and his faithfulness. For the Most High deliver thee into mine hand today. But I would not stretch forth my hand against the Most High's anointed.
He keeps saying this to stay in the right. Read on.
And behold,
that was more important to him that he was right with the Most High than for his personal vendettas.
No doubt about it.
You gotta look at the Most High, looking at what's your value system. Is your desire for vengeance and revenge more important than your desire to keep the Most High at peace with you?
That's everything. What is your spiritual integrity like?
Or are you too shallow to recognize that your anger is steered at men, and that's a shallow perspective.
Exactly.
When your mentality should be seen by the Most High. You should be desired to be seen by and recognized by the Most High. David had a higher consciousness of the Most High than Saul possessed. Mm-hmm. He feared the Most High in total. But Saul was shallow in the fact that he could only blame his happiness over the fall of David.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So let's go, verse 24.
And behold, as thy life was much set by this day in mine eyes, so let my life be much set in the eyes of the Most High. Mm-hmm. And let him deliver me out of all tribulation. Then Saul said to David, blessed be thou, my son David. Thou shalt thou shalt both do great things, and also shalt still prevail. So
Now,
David went on his way, and Saul returned to his place.
I don't want all of Josephus book 6, chapter 13, paragraph 9, but I want towards the end where the dialogue is between Saul and David, and it says, now when Saul knew David's voice.
Okay.
Now when Saul knew David's voice and understood. Got that?
Yeah, I got it right here. Line 316, page
Okay.
176.
Okay, let's read that.
Come. Now when Saul knew David's voice and understood that when he had him in his power while he was asleep, and his guards took no care of him, he kill him.
He said, yet
did not he kill him. Salakia. Yet did not he kill him, but spared him, when he might justly have cut him off.
It didn't say justly. Well, maybe yours says it.
Yeah,
it
it
says
says justly on
when
mine.
he might have cut him off. Okay, cool.
Okay. It says, he said that he had owed him thanks for his preservation, and exhorted him to be of good courage, and not be afraid of suffering any mischief from him anymore.
Can't believe that though. Read on.
And to return to his own home. Line 317. For he was now persuaded that he did not love himself so well as he was loved by him.
He said David's actions proved that he loved Saul more than Saul loved himself. He said, man, and that's how you heap those hot coals on a person, by constantly being right and being in order, even though people are goading you into reacting, goading you into making mistakes.
Can I say it in a way? Because he had a higher consciousness of the Heavenly Father, he actually valued Saul's spiritual well-being than Saul valued his own spiritual well-being.
Very true.
That happens a lot. You're counseling someone, you're dealing with someone, and they don't have a concern about how the Most High is going to judge them. But as the teacher or whatever elder you got to be for a person, you're supposed to care more about that person's spiritual well-being than really they do themselves.
Okay.
It's the same parallel right there on that concept.
Okay. Keep going.
That he had driven away him that could guard him, and had many demonstrations of his goodwill to him.
He had many times showed that there was goodwill from David's side. Read on.
That he had forced him to live so long in a state of banishment.
He said, man, he had him living so long in the state of banishment. He was banished for years. It had to be years. He was public enemy number one for years. This guy banished on the run, living in caves. Just catching hell. That's sad. That sucks. Read on.
And in great fears of his life, destitute of his friends and his kindred, while still he was often saved by him, and frequently received his life again when it was evidently in danger of perishing.
He says, this man is amazing. And he sat back here on the run, public enemy number one, and he still saves me multiple times. Read on.
Line 318. So David bade them send for the spear and the cruse of water, and take them back, adding this withal, that the Most High would be the judge of both their dispositions.
Well, he says the Most High will be the judge of both of their dispositions. Let's look up disposition real quick. The Most High judges our disposition. He judges the disposition of the person that does the offense, and how the person that gets offended and hurt, how they handle being hurt. People think that the Most High just judges the bad guy, the bad meanie that hurt me. He judges the dispositions of the offender and the offendee. And I don't think we sit back here and process that. Read that part again. I'm going to say it again. He says that the Most High would be the judge of both their dispositions. The Most High judges the person that does the harm, and the Most High judges the disposition of the person that is affected by the harm. Neither party is justified to be negative. If the person who harmed you, he's going to get judged. But if the person who gets harmed, if their outlook is sour, if their disposition is negative, they're going to get judged the same. Disposition.
It says disposition, 1828.
I want the number 4 one.
Yeah. Temper or natural constitution of the mind.
How is Most High going to judge how you think? He's going to judge how your mind is after the offense. Am I going to take matters in my own hands? Or am I going to be at peace with what the Most High put me through? Am I going to learn how to forgive and have mercy? That's how a person's disposition is challenged. And he's looking at both groups' disposition. If I did the offense, and if I was the person who did the sin, is my disposition remorse? Am I going to try to make things right? And the person who was offended, is that person going to hold a grudge for the rest of their life? Are they going to learn how to forgive? Are they going to learn how to have mercy? He's judging both sides' disposition. And we have to know that the person who got hurt is on the hook to forgive as much as the person who did the sin has to be remorseful. We think because we were hurt, we have the right to hurt back or to hold on to grudges, and that's not true. So, that's fine. It says number 5 too.
God. It says inclination.
What are you inclined to do? How is your mind? How are you inclined to process being hurt? How are you inclined to process being let down? It's how he's looking at us.
You know, most of us throw a hex. You know what I'm saying? Like that old color purple. Ain't no good gonna come by you.
Well, was it 2 fingers or was it 1 finger?
Till you do right by me. You know? a lot of our people throw hexes, man.
Because you know what? We expect. We're waiting on somebody to do right by you before you got to work on what's inside of you, and that's just not how the Most High wants. He says your inclination, your propensity, the temper or frame of mind as directed to particular objects. The Most High is looking at your propensity to handle situations, how you react. He's looking at how you react to what happens to you, what's being done to you. That's what he's looking, the disposition of our minds. I keep saying this and I'm repeating it and I'm driving it because I just don't think as a nation, as a camp, as a people, we look at things this way. I don't think we understand that the Most High is looking at how you react to things. It's not even necessarily, as a man thinketh, so is he, right? So if my disposition is off, eventually my works will be off.
And the reason my disposition is off, because my judgment is off. Because if I feel like that person offended me and they got away scot-free, then I'm thinking that you love them more than you love me.
Exactly.
And that's not how the Most High looks at anything. The Most High says, yes, no, he's not a respecter of persons.
Yep.
But I'll look at the Most High as being unjust, and that his judgment is crooked.
Exactly. And that's what he's saying. Your disposition towards me goes this way when this happens to you.
Yeah.
Your disposition, he's really looking at how was my disposition to the Most High change when things don't go my way.
Right. Then I'll say the Most High is impartial. He's partial. He's fair towards one and not the other.
But all these emotions and the thoughts that I play with lead me to that result.
Yeah.
Leads the Most High to evaluating that.
The Most High is not fair. You know, how come he don't love me? He loves them more than he loves me.
Most High is partial.
Yep. He's partial.
Yep.
Most High said he's not a respecter of persons, man.
And if my mind is inclined to give myself to that way, then I'm just showing the Most High that I really don't love him as much as he wants me to love him. Because all of these snares we go through are there to determine where our love, where our motivation, where our dedication is towards him.
Oh, and we'll blame the Most High then. And we'll say, well, the Most High left me hanging.
Man.
The Most High didn't defend me. And that's why I don't believe in the Bible. And that's why I don't trust the Most High.
Most High judges our disposition.
Yeah, that's
both sides. What hit me was the both sides.
Yeah.
Both their dispositions. Man, I'm sorry. That's a strong concept. I hope we're listening. You got more of that?
No, that's it.
Keep reading. He says that the Most High would be the judge of both their dispositions. Read on that.
And of the actions that flowed from the same.
Just like we said, it's your disposition, and how your disposition is determines your actions. How you think, how you process, how you receive bad news or adversity determines what your actions will become after that. And he's weighing your thoughts, he's weighing your intentions, he's weighing your motivations, and eventually he's going to see your actions follow suit, and he's going to judge you based off of that.
Yep.
And he's going to judge you. He's going to determine how much he can work with you. You know, all this boils down to is how much the Most High, how many good things and how great things he can work with you based off the disposition you can maintain. He can only do so much with you if you don't have it in you to have mercy, forgiveness, and patience. Then you're limited to what you can give back to him. And that's what it is. And if you give limited, you're going to get limited back. We have to understand, if I don't sit back and make these adjustments in my disposition, then he's not going to be able to work through me, which means I'm not going to get the rewards I think I want or think I deserve. I'm only going to get rewarded based off how tempered my dispositions are. Everybody wants these major blessings, but don't want to work to earn the blessings. We think we're just going to get the kingdom without having our disposition challenged, our outlook challenged. You know what it shows you? Getting to the kingdom and getting rewarded goes way beyond the law. We're dealing with dispositions and getting judged off of your thinking and how you look at things. This goes way beyond the Sabbath on Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. This goes way beyond just the basic foundation of the law and the basic minutia and the routine that we go through. This is your mindset. You're getting judged off of that. Your blessings get judged off of that. Anyway, we're going to keep going to reading because I think it doesn't matter what I think. We're going to let that go into Josephus and let's go back in the scriptures. Now we're in chapter 27. Thawam, can you take over? It's that time, like 12 o'clock. Came just in time, brother. Appreciate it. We got to take it home for us. If you need to sit down, it's cool too. Whatever works for you.
Yes.
So, let's salute you. Got 2 Asherites in a row, man. Record, I can't.
Tahawam Racha, Shal Shabbatah, Ban Ashar, Ban Yasha'ala.
Tahawam Racha, Shal Shabbatah, Ban Ashar, Ban Yasha'ala. Much. Yahweh Hashem Yashar.
Yahweh Hashem Yashar.
Alright, so we're in 1 Samuel chapter 27 and verse 1. Okay.
What was that again? 1 Samuel chapter
27, verse 1.
1 Samuel chapter 27 and verse 1. And David said in his heart, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me than I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines.
He's like, listen, I'm not buying what Saul just said. He's calling me my son. He says he loves me. He said this crap last time. I don't buy him. He's going to come and get me again. So I got to find a more permanent place to settle myself down. I got ribs. I got people. I got bodies. Then I'm going to have to go sit back here and deal with these Philistines. And that's crazy. I don't even understand. I'm not even going to lie to you why he thought going to Philistines was the answer, but the Most High backed it. Whatever did he backed it. Read on.
And Saul shall despair of me, to seek me any more in any coast of Israel. So shall I escape out of his hand. And David arose, and he passed over with the 600 men that were with him unto Achish, the son of Maach, king of Gath.
Now don't forget the Philistines had 5 major cities of the Philistines, and they had 5 major kings. He went to the king of Gath. There were 4 more. You're gonna understand why I said that down the line. So he went to one king and set up a snare where there was peace and settled down there. He's like, listen, I doubt very serious that Saul's gonna go into the land of the Philistines to take me out. That was the best answer he came up with.
Because he would put his own self at risk.
Exactly. Read on.
And David dwelt with Achish at Gath, he and his men, every man with his household, even David with his 2 wives, Ahinoam and Jezreelitis, and Abigail the Carmelitess, Nabal's wife.
So what it also was saying is, hold this, matter of fact, go to Proverbs 16 and 7. Because I don't know what the hell he told this man that made him believe him. Because, just read it. Proverbs 16 and 7.
I got it.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 7. When a man's ways please the Most High, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
Listen, it was known that he killed countless Philistines, and this Philistine king lets him in. I don't even know how. Because the crazy thing is, down the line, you're going to read that all the Philistines were going to fight against Saul. And David was going to go fight with the Philistines against Saul too. And the other 4 kings of the Philistines were like, why the hell does this dude with you? Do you know there's songs about this cat killing 10,000 people? And you going to bring this guy to fight and ride with us? Take this dude out of here. Get him out of here, right? So the other 4 kings told Achish, get this cat out. And he obliged. Point is, I don't know, whatever hooly-gooly spell, it was the Most High, obviously, to convince this king of Gath to stay in. He got a city with him, huh? He went there, he moved. Listen, let's just read it. I'm trying. But that was spiritual hooly-gooly. I had to get that guy to sit right here and change his thoughts. He was killing Philistines all 1 Samuel. And he let it happen, huh?
And he killed their champion.
He killed Goliath.
Yeah.
He killed countless fights for them, killing 10,000s of people individually.
That national hero, man.
God.
Goliath was a national hero.
A national hero. Let's keep going, man.
Back in 1 Samuel?
Yes, sir.
1 Samuel chapter 27 and verse 4. And it was told Saul that David was fled to God, and he sought no more again for him.
Hell no. He's like, I'm not going to fight this dude in the Philistine land. That's a task I don't want to take on. He can have him. He's like, Philistines can have him. You know, he was hoping that the Philistines would kill him. But read on.
And David said unto Achish, if I have now found grace in thine eyes, let them give me a place in some town in the country, that I may dwell there. For why should thy servant dwell in the royal city with thee?
He's like, listen, I don't want to be in your royal city and cramp your style. I'm not royalty. Let me just go to a small town where I can keep my people and take care of them. Read on.
Then Achish gave him Ziklag that day. Wherefore Ziklag pertaineth unto the kings of Judah unto this day.
So that he gave them a little city-state of their own that was still in the province of Philistines. That was obviously Philistines bordered Judah. So they had a new city that was theirs, and that was David's city. Read on.
And the time that David dwelt in the country of the Philistines was a full year and 4 months.
Listen, he's dealing. Listen. Just because we went from chapter 26 to 27 doesn't mean this thing happened in minutes. I think sometimes when you read these scenarios and these stories, from the first time David spared Saul to the second time David spared Saul, you're dealing with years, man. It's not just happening in weeks. It's happening in years. So 1 year he spares him. A couple years pass through. He deals with Nadal. Nadal. Nabal. He deals with Nabal. Then some couple years pass by. Then he goes and spares Saul again. Then he gets to the Philistines' land. Then he's standing a year there. You're burning years, bro. You're burning years. You're knocking down 10 plus years on the run. This is crazy, So anyway, I'm just trying to paint the picture how long of a time he's going through while he's waiting for the Most High to give him what he promised him to give him. Read on.
Verse 8. And David and his men went up and invaded the Geshurites.
But while he was waiting, while he's waiting for the Most High to remove Saul from his position, he didn't sit back here laying up drinking wine. He said, let me clear out and trim the fat what I got. Let me take out these nations that are around our borders. Because eventually, that's what's going to be needed. You know, he thought, first of all, I got a new town. I got to get sheep. I need finance. I need some money. I got to establish myself financially in this town in Ziklag. So let me take out these enemies of the Most High while clearing out this space for my eventual kingdom and my kingdom now.
You know what that shows also? That a lot of times the natural thought process for Israel is that until the Most High brings me vengeance, or the Most High intercedes, or the Most High shows me that he's on my side, I'm just going to sit back and chill and do nothing. Exactly. What that shows is that until you feel like you're justified, most people just fall back and they do nothing, and they go into their mind, they go into their flesh, and they become disconnected with work. They don't want to keep working until the Most High changes their dynamic.
That's right.
And
that's a great point.
And a lot of our people do that. They feel like, you know what, as long as I'm unhappy, as long as I'm on the run, as long as my situation is uncomfortable, I'm going to do as little work as possible.
It happens all the time.
I'm going to do as little work as possible until my situation changes, and then I'll get busy. Then I'll go back to work.
When I see a sign?
When I see a sign,
then I'll go to work.
Then I'll go to work. But that's the wrong mentality to take. That's total opposite of what David said. What David is doing. David is saying, listen, I'm in a position of poverty. I'm in a position of discomfort. I'm on a run. I'm living amongst my enemies, technically. And at any moment, Saul could still try to take my life out. I'm living as a stranger. I'm living like a vagabond. So he's still not looking at the situation and saying, I'm just going to sleep. I'm going to take this time to chill. I'm going to catch up on some sleep. I'm going to catch up on some rest. I've been on the run for a long time. I'm going to get comfortable. And that's something that we do that's punishable for us. It's death to us, because that's wasting time. You know, because we can do two things. We can look at this situation and say, man, you know what? I've been on the run for a long time. I need to chill for a while. I need a break. I need to rest. I need to relax. You know, here's my chance to be away from Saul. This is my time to chill. I've been working hard. I've been busting my butt. And we think we're justified in taking time off. And that's not what David did. Until your change comes, until your situation changes, until things get better, you got to stay busy. You got to get busy. You got to go to work. And that's the nature of Israel, is to chill versus get busy and start working. And that's something that David did. He didn't look at it and say, man, I'm gonna take the edge off, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna relax. No, I'm gonna do more work, even though I'm still displaced in my home country, from my people. I'm gonna do more work and get more busier. I'm gonna do more work and still add on responsibility.
Exactly.
Because you're preparing war for your enemies in the south. That's strategy.
It takes time.
It takes time. You're strategizing. You're planning. Then you're looking at inventory. Yep. How many men we got? How many weapons we got? How many warriors we got?
What gaps do we have in our strategy last time that made us, it was a liability last time?
Right. And then you're looking at, you know what? We got to feed the kids. These are men that are on the run. They still got their families with them.
That's true.
Who's gonna watch over the children? What kind of food do we have? What's in the storehouse? Yep. What type of commercial goods do we possess?
Yeah.
You know, you say, what man goes to war and not count the cost?
That's true.
So you got to strategize and plan and get busy versus sleeping and versus chilling. And that's what we do as Israelites. When we don't feel like our situation is at its best, we choose to sleep and we choose to chill. And that's opposite of what David is showing right here. That's opposite of what he's doing. Read on.
Verse 8, and David and his men went up and invaded the Geshurites and the Gezrites and the Amalekites. And those nations were of old the inhabitants of the land. And thou goest to Shur, even unto the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
And David smote the
He
land.
said this, and David and his men went up and invaded. So right when you think that, you know what, my enemy is not a concern, or my enemy is not a threat, you know, that threat is diminished. That threat is kind of chilled out. Now I can chill. That's death to us as a people. We don't see how important it is that to take every opportunity to make our situation better, just because we don't see any immediate harm or immediate danger. That's the nature of our people, is to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Go back to sleep when there's no, when I feel like my bills are paid.
Yeah.
When I feel like I'm caught up on my rent, I'm caught up on my bills, I'm caught up on my responsibilities, everything's caught up. Should we go to sleep? That's just us as a people. We find, you know, it's vacation time. It's chill time. It's time for me to get on the road. I'm time for chill. You know what I'm saying? See some sights. Vacation.
Take it easy, bro.
Take it easy. That's not what David did. That is not what he did. He didn't look for an opportunity to take the edge off. He said he invaded. He took this chance to go invade some other places.
And that wasn't immediately benefit. Like, the perception would be, how is this immediately benefiting me? It's really benefiting the king, the guy who's still in power.
Yep.
He has less enemies.
Yep. Still, you're doing him a favor.
It's really a favor. I did this dude a favor, bro, and I ain't gonna get the benefit of it. King Saul he lives a safer life.
You know what that means? That means that David wasn't going to allow himself to grow dull.
Wow.
And because that's what we do when we don't feel like there's an immediate threat, we get very dull and we get desensitized to work.
Yep.
And then we justify it by saying this is my opportunity to chill. And David wouldn't do that, man. David didn't grow dull. He kept his edge. He kept his edge about it. He kept his mental sharpness about it. And he didn't feel like, man, this is my time to relax now. You grow dull if you relax. You get late. You grow lazy if you relax.
A little folding in the hands.
Yeah, a little folding in the hands, man. Building decaying. So David's like, listen, man, we're gonna keep our men sharp.
Yep.
We're gonna keep our men trained up.
Yep.
We're gonna keep our men, you know, with some awareness about them. And because when you keep yourself in a spirit of fighting, there's no time to get dull. There's no time to relax. But also you keep yourself in a spirit of dependency on the Most High. I need the Most High.
It still goes back to that.
I need the Most High to protect me. I need the Most High to defend me. I keep my edge about me. You know, you don't lose your discipline. You don't give yourself a chance to lose your discipline. You know what I'm saying? And that was the beauty of David going to invade the Amalek. He didn't let his soldiers grow dull. And no time to relax. There's no time to relax, man.
It would have been a real bad thing if he took it easy and said, you know, well, as long as Saul's in power, let him take care of it.
Yeah, he'll deal with that.
And then once Saul dies, it's time to get sharp now. It's time
you can't operate like that.
Let's go ahead and get together, guys. Now we got our kingdom. Now let's go ahead and work out and get on point.
All right.
Get our swords, get sharpen our swords now.
Doesn't work out. Most High says, blessed is that servant when the Lord cometh, he finds him so doing.
Yeah.
Always being in the spirit of doing is how you keep your edge. Where are we at now? We're at 1 Samuel 27 and what?
Verse 9.
Okay.
And David smote the land, and left neither man nor woman alive, and took away the sheep, and the oxen, and the asses, and the camels, and the apparel, and returned and came to Achish.
Listen, first of all, he did what Saul never did. Remember the order? Samuel gave Saul the order to wipe out the Amalekites and don't leave man, woman alive. He sat back here and he did what he was told. He constantly kept the order. He constantly kept the order. He constantly went through oracles to make sure that the next step was the right thing to do. He made it a habit of doing things decently in order, whether he was afraid or confident. You're going to see down the line that Saul wants to sit back here and get clarity on what the Most High wants to do because he's afraid of the size of the Philistine army. He just didn't want to do things the right way because it was the right thing to do. He only leaned on the Most High when he was afraid of losing. But let's keep going. 1 Samuel 27, verse 10.
And Achish said, whither have ye made a road today?
So where'd you go today, man? Where'd you go, David?
Yeah.
Read on.
And David said, against the south of Judah, and against the south of Jerahmeelites, and against the south of the Kenites.
Because you got to think about this. yes, he needed to sit back here and get paid and get sustained for his group, but he also was protecting the southern borders of who? His tribe, right? You got to understand that there was still a tribal divide. It was Judah. It wasn't, it wasn't even Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. It was Judah and the rest of the damn tribes, right? So we're like, I got to fortify and look after my tribe. I got to get the south of Judah, because all these people were in that Arabian Peninsula. Because that's where Judah was. Everything below Judah was the Arabian Peninsula going towards Shur and Egypt. Okay, yes, sir?
And also, David continued the conquest of Joshua.
Okay.
Because after Joshua and Caleb passed off, we didn't put all the people out of the land we were supposed to.
Yep.
So this was him continuing the conquest of our land.
And now, see, as we get into 1st, 2nd Samuel, he starts to extend out the natural borders of what we were supposed to have in the first place. He was the only one that sat back here and finished what Joshua had said in the first place. Or he did to it the best of his degree, because he didn't do it completely, because you still had to take out the Phoenicians. He didn't take out the Phoenicians, or quote unquote the Tyrians, Zidonians. He didn't take them out, and Philistines got pretty much wiped out. But what he did was greater than any of the other heads were able to do. By the time Joshua got to finishing, he was too old. He couldn't finish the deal, and this is why all these issues are still present amongst the nations. So, but that's definitely on point. Let's keep going.
Verse 11. And David saved neither man nor woman alive to bring tidings to God, saying, lest they should tell on us, saying, so did David, and so will be his manner all the while he dwelleth in the country of the Philistines.
He also says he had to make sure that he killed every man and woman, so word didn't get out about what he did to alarm the Philistines about his potential to wipe out the Philistines. Hold that and go to Josephus real quick, paragraph 10. It is 6, 13, and 10.
Book 6, chapter 13, verse 10.
Shalom,
line
Aharon.
319.
I don't know, from Dallas, I'm not sure, but shalom, brother. How you doing? So give me verse 10.
Line 319. Thus Saul, having escaped the hands of David twice, he went his way to his royal palace and his own city. But David was afraid that if he stayed there, he should be caught by Saul.
Because Saul kept showing a pattern of showing remorse for a short period of time and then changing his temperament and going at it. Read on.
So he thought it better to go up into the land of the Philistines and abide there. Accordingly, he came with the 600 men that were with him to Achish, the king of God, which was one of their 5 cities. Now the king received both him and his men, and gave them a place to inhabit in. He had with him also his 2 wives, Ahinoam and Abigail, and he dwelt in God. But when Saul heard this, he took no farther care about sending to him, or going after him, because he had been twice in a manner caught by him, while he was himself endeavoring to catch him. However, David had no mind to continue in the city of God, but desired the king that since he had received him with such humanity, that he would grant him another favor, and bestow upon him some place of that country for his habitation. For he was ashamed, by living in this city, to be grievous and burdensome to him.
He didn't want to sit back here and just keep taking. Can I get some more wine? Can I get some meat and cheese? Can I get some more meat and cheese? I sure am hungry. I need to sit back and go to my own city and build on my own. I get on my own now. Read on.
So Achish gave him a certain village called Ziklag, which place David and his sons were fond of when he was king, and reckoned it to be their peculiar inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
But about those matters we shall give the reader further information elsewhere.
So Ziklag is going to play a part down the line in this kingdom. Read on.
Now the time that David dwelt in Ziklag, in the land of the Philistine, was 4 months and 20 days.
Now, the scripture said a year and 4 months, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Okay.
So we're going to go with what the scriptures say. Okay? Read on.
And now he privately attacked those Gershites and Amalekites. They were neighbors to the Philistines, and laid waste their country, and took much prey of their beasts and camel, and then returned home. But David abstained from the men, as fearing they should discover him to King Achish. Yet did he send part of the prey to him as a free gift. And when the king inquired whom they had attacked, when they brought away the prey, he said, those that lay to the south of the Jews, and inhabitants in the plain, whereby he persuaded Achish to approve of what he had done. For he had hoped that David had fought against his own nation, and that now he should have him for his servant all his life long, and that he should stay in his country.
So now he gives a little more clarity to verse 10. Matter of fact, give me verse 9 again. 1 Samuel 27:9 is going to explain a little more about his thinking and how he talked to Achish. Read that.
1 Samuel chapter 27 and verse 9. And David smote the land, and left neither man nor woman alive, and took away the sheep, and the oxen, and the asses, and the camels, and the apparel, and returned, and came to Achish. And Achish said, whither have ye made a road today? And David said, against the south of Judah, and against the south of the Jerahmeelites, and against the south of the Kenites.
So what he's saying is that he was killing other Judites in the south. And he said that to Achish to make him comfortable to think that, okay, David's on my side. Okay, so but really he was taking out other nations. He had to kill all the men and the women so that word didn't get out that he was killing other nations. So, but the thing is, he was really killing other nations for the preservation of his people. But he had to make Achish think he was going to war with other Judites, to make him think that he was on his side. So he was really a double agent, and he did it the right way. That there would be no survivors, or what do you go? No, what do people say when they're sitting back here taking out these different lands? No, gosh, man, I can't get the word in my head, so I'm gonna let it go. But it's pretty much nobody.
No one shall live to tell a story.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the point. I just can't get it the right way.
A dead man tells no tales.
That too. I was thinking about there's no. It doesn't matter. There's nobody seeing it. Everybody's dead. That's the whole point. Everybody dead. No witnesses. I couldn't get it out. There's no witnesses out. You gotta take out the witnesses. Innocent bystanders. Ain't no innocent bystanders. They all dead out. So anyway, that's the point. And he was playing Achish to make him think that he was on his side. So read it. Now we go to verse 11 in the scriptures. 27 and 11.
Verse 11. And David saved neither man nor woman alive, to bring tidings to God, saying, lest they should tell on us, saying, so did David, and so will be his manner all the while he dwelled in the country of the Philistines.
And that's the point. He's like, man, listen, don't you realize if he let people, if somebody get to Achish saying, listen, man, he's killing all the other nations, bro. He's going to come for you next. You don't realize that? That's why I said, I don't know what kind of hooly-gooly kind of mysticism he got on Achish to make Achish think he's okay with the Philistines. But as you read on, the other four kings was like, why do you got this dude next to you? He is a killer of all of us. Get this man out of here. Anyway.
But politically, it makes sense because if you're looking at...
I got a great warrior.
If he's a fugitive, this guy's a fugitive of his own land.
Yeah.
That doesn't... They're basically having a
internal warfare.
A civil war.
Yeah.
All right, a cold war between Saul and David. This could be a political opportunity.
Yeah.
Because if he turns cold,
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
That was a smart move, but he ended up playing himself.
Yeah. It's all making sense.
David got negative.
But that's the point. It's hard to trust. It's like this dude wiped out 10,000s of my people.
Yeah.
I'm taking a real risk.
He rolled the dice.
He's rolling the dice, huh? Well, you know, it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But read verse 12.
Verse 12. And Achish believed David, saying, he had made his people Israel utterly to abhor him. Therefore he shall be my servant forever.
Okay, my guy.
He can't go back home.
He made the nation hate.
Yeah, he can't go home.
He killed all these Judites.
I like what you said, that it's political, because when you train and you give access to your enemies for weapons because there's an internal struggle. You give them weapons, then you train them. You show them how to fly planes.
They motivated.
Exactly.
And then they fly planes back in your own building. You created this issue.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you thought you had an envoy.
Yep.
You thought you had an emissary, somebody on your side, an ally, somebody you had on your side, and then it backfired. It happens all the time.
It happens all the time, bro. It's happening with how the world's been set up by it. It's constantly setting teams with that. But let's go. Let's keep going. 1 Samuel 28, man.
1 Samuel chapter 28 and verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare, to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men.
Right? Right? You gonna come out with us and fight, right? Read on.
And David said to Achish, Surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, Therefore will I make thee keeper of mine head forever.
He says, man, you're gonna be a keeper of mine. You're gonna be my right hand guy. You're gonna protect me. And as a result, he's like the reward of him. He's the rear protector of Achish as they go into battle with the Jews. Okay? Read on.
Verse 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, even his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land.
So what you're going to see about Saul was really good about what? What's that word we always say? He's an optics guy.
Yeah.
He's really good about optics. Do away with the wizards. That's against the law. Sorcerers, get them out of here. They're bad guys. They're all wicked. They're all evil. Get them away.
He's good at stirring or directing the narrative.
Well, he directs that, but outwardly he's anti-witches, huh?
Yeah.
He's anti-witches. He's anti-warlocks.
He's spiritual. That's why one dude was like, "Man, you're a bloody man. Saul's a good man." Okay, you bought his.
You bought the politics, side. You bought the politics. So he's like, on the outside, banish him. I'm all about serving the Most High. No witches for me. No witches in Saul's house.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
But that's what he's saying. There's no witches here. Destroy the wickedness.
That's Captain Obvious.
That's the point. But he doesn't. He makes everybody else do things he's not willing to do. Let's keep going.
Verse 4. And the Philistines gathered themselves together, and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together.
Now listen, I get this the first time that I've read when the Philistines were fighting the Jews, that they started sitting back here and they fought Israel in the northern kingdom. This is the first time they did it. I've seen that. So now they're dealing with the northern kingdom, and I don't know if you guys can see on this map. For some reason it's looking blurry. But Shunem is right there. And listen, this whole land area above the valley of Jezreel, and I apologize for the blurriness of it. I had problems getting this map up. Shunem and Endor is near the Sea of Galilee. And that area is Issachar. It's an Issachar province. So we're going to find that which Endor could be Issachar. It's just good to know things like that. Issachar, huh?
You said
Santeria. Yeah, it was an Urbania. What do they call them? What do they call them again? Urbanias?
Herbalaria.
That's what they are. I was just saying that the witch Endor.
There's all those candles.
Yeah, it's all these different color candles.
It's scary in there. It's like spooky in there.
It is, right? But the witch of Endor is around the province of Issachar.
A lot of chicken feet.
Yeah, a lot of chicken feet.
Yeah.
Botanica, La Botanica. That's it. So there's a Botanica hidden way in the cutout.
You gotta get it cleansing up.
Botanica, that's perfect. So that's where we're at. If you can't see it online, it's where this. I don't know if they can see the thumb, but it's near the water area to the right, which is the Sea of Galilee. Endor is right next to that, and Shunem is where the Philistines were ready for battle. It's crazy that the Philistines went that far up to go to war. That's when all the battles before this were in Judah and in Benjamin. It's just weird how that's set up. But I guess, listen, the Philistines were relentless in their desire to get the Jews out. They're trying all kind of tactics. Maybe if I don't got to fight these Jews and these Benjamites, we got a better chance of winning. I don't know what they're thinking. Point is, so now they're all up north in Issachar land. It's Issachar and Naphtali is where these spots are around, or where they're at. So let's continue.
And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa.
Okay.
And when Saul saw the host
now
of
Mount Gilboa is right below the valley of Jezreel. So they're below. Shuma's on top up north. Let's keep going.
And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled.
Now I need the Most High. Now I need the Lord. When I'm afraid, now I go to the Most High. Instead of going to the Most High all the time, I only go to the Most High when I need Him. Does that sound familiar? That's Israel all the time. I go after I go through every other option in my carnal way, then I go to the Most High. That is an example of what the bad king did. The good king, the good man, goes to the Most High before every endeavor. Goes to the priest, so the priest can ask the Urim and the Thummim what to do. He's constantly inquiring, staying in order. Saul just tries to get the Most High's advice when he knows he can't physically wipe these guys out. So he's afraid the numbers are too big for the Philistines.
Cursed be man that trusted in his
arm. Yep.
And make it flesh his arm.
Exactly.
I'm gonna do it. If I got it, I got it.
You know, it's funny how you brought this out in verse 3. Did you read verse 3 real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. 1 Samuel chapter 28 verse 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him.
Now Samuel died by this time. Go ahead.
And buried him in Ramah.
Go ahead.
Even in his own city.
Go ahead.
And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits.
It's funny how Saul went on to put away all those that had
campaigns,
familiar spirits, right? But go back to 1 Samuel chapter 15, and let's read what Samuel told Saul, verse 23.
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Read that.
1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
So just the same way that Saul felt like, you know what, I'm doing something that's just by putting away all the witches and the sorcerers.
Yep.
But Samuel had told Saul that what?
For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
So why don't you just do what you're trying to impose on an optical level? Why don't you live it internally?
You're just as guilty as these same sorcerers that you've been putting away.
Kinda.
That you didn't put away the sorcery out of the land, but you're just as guilty as these witches and sorcerers.
Wow.
You're just you're just equivalent as a sinner as they are. But he won't put himself out of the way.
That's not that doesn't optically change anything.
Right.
This is about optics and how other people look at it.
Right, and that just shows you that he could never see himself. He could always see other people, but he could never see the wickedness within himself. That's all I wanted to bring out right there.
It's because he says some people fear the eyes of men.
Yeah. That's crazy how you could see everybody else's wickedness, but you can't see how your wickedness is equivalent. It's just as negative. Just as wicked. That's what
and this is a big reason why the Most High, when it comes to the topic of forgiveness, He wants you're not rejoicing your enemy fall, bro. Because you don't know how much you have in common with your enemy.
Right.
A lot of us have problems because we have so much in common with them.
That is complete truth, Al. That's complete truth.
Yeah.
So let's keep going.
1 Samuel chapter 28 and verse 6. And when Saul inquired of the Most High answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets.
Now Saul's trying to do things decently and in order. And Saul is dumbfounded. I don't know why the Most High is not accepting me. I just tried to kill David 5 minutes ago. But I don't know why the Most High is against me.
But you know why? Because he wants to serve the Most High when it's convenient for him. Most High gets sick of that. When it benefits you, you're going to pray. You're going to fast, you're going to read, you're going to study, you're going to do all your Bible stuff.
What? Wait, say that.
You can do all your Bible stuff when it benefits you. But if it doesn't benefit you, you're going to sleep, you're going to sit here and be distracted, you're going to go into your own world, you're going to do you.
All
so
facts, bro.
It's that one-sided relationship we have with the Father Most High is an issue with.
Yeah.
Whereas David, he served the Most High regardless if it benefited him or not.
Exactly.
The Most High likes that. Listen,
he loves that.
Listen. If it benefits you or not, you're going to be the same consistent guy. You're going to study, you're going to work, you're going to sacrifice, you're going to give, you're going to make sure your conscience is clear towards me. But Saul's one side. Hey, listen. It's a good time. You know, people are looking at me a certain way. It's time to get rid of these. Let's go ahead and get rid of these witches.
Ready to see that the law of the Lord is being enforced.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
These witches right now. Let the Most High is with me. You know what I'm saying?
And let everybody know
man.
that I don't play with that sin.
Yeah.
That I don't play with that sin.
The
dig?
Lord don't accept that.
That's wickedness, brothers.
Come.
Get out of here, right? But look what he does. Now you don't have no answers. Most I ain't listening to you. Listen, alibis ain't matching up, out.
Yeah.
Your BS is catching up, out.
Come.
That's where he's at. He's at that end. Like he says, man, that's when that the Most High is just left you. He's not around, and you can feel it. Anyway,
you just want to jump up and read the footnotes to that page 186 on the Josephus.
Okay.
And part A in the footnotes. Page 186 in the Josephus and the footnotes.
Well, see, you don't want to go there yet. Is that dealing with 14 and 1 and 2?
No.
Because we're gonna read that.
No, just on that point.
Is it 13? I'm just trying to know what chapter.
No, that's chapter. It's chapter. It's book 6.
Yep.
I mean book 7.
Oh, book
chapter
7.
4. But it's in the footnotes where it's part A. I know your book is a little different.
Yeah.
But
what we are gonna go.
Yeah,
that.
but it's just to bring this out right here in this point. What Saul,
yeah.
What Saul's trying to do it right now.
Yeah.
Read that.
All right, this is the footnotes of chapter 4, book 6, chapter 4, paragraph 1. A. It deserves here to be remarked that Saul very rarely
14.
and David very frequently consulted the Most High by Urim.
So now when your back is against the wall,
crazy.
Your back is against the wall, and now you need some help, and now you care about the Most High's presence. Now you care about the Most High interceding for you. Now you care about the Most High's opinion. When Samuel had already told Saul, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. So 99% of the time you're rebellious, except for when you're in trouble. 99% of the time you don't care about the Most High interceding or His opinion being involved with your everyday living and lifestyle, your thought process. But now that you're in trouble, you want to depend on the Most High. Now that the situation that your back is against the wall, you need help. Now the Most High is critical. Now the Most High is important. Yeah. When 99% of the time, the Most High wasn't that important. Read on.
And that David aimed always.
And this is the stark contrast between David and Saul. This is a very stark contrast. If you want to see the difference between David and Saul and what made these men who they were and what was the difference between them, it was the mind frame, how they viewed the Most High. It says, and David what?
Aimed always.
It says the difference between Saul hardly ever, obviously only when he's in trouble, cares about the Most High interceding.
Very rarely.
It said very rarely. Cared about consulting the Most High through the and the Thummim. He said, but David did what?
Always depend not on his own prudence or abilities, but on the divine direction.
Wow.
Contrary to Saul's practice.
And so that's the major difference between Saul and David. Is that one was constantly dependent upon divine direction. One was always dependent upon the Most High. Let me get the Most High's thought process on what I'm about to do. Before I embark on a campaign, before I make a decision, let me find out if this decision is right by the Most High. Let me find out if the Most High is behind or will back this decision that I'm about to make. Or let me execute my will first, and then if my will doesn't work, then I'll depend on the Most High on the back end.
Brother, you busy?
Yeah. Now I'm trying to call for a lifeline. You know, Lord, I need your help.
It's like Mayday, the ship is sinking. Listen, it's water sprouting out fast. Like, Lord, I need counsel.
Yeah, so it's like during the time of Jonah when he was on the boat, he said, "Man, call on whatever God you believe in."
That's
you know what I'm saying? It's like the last minute, throw a Hail Mary, and that's what we do as a people. We don't always stay cognizant and ask and pursuing the Most High's judgment in our decision making. We want to show how much wisdom we have, so we take the majority of the time to go about establishing our own righteousness, making decisions that without counsel, we make decisions without advice. We try to be the ones that say, you know what, let me get through this and I'm gonna try something, and if this don't work, then I'll ask the Most High to intercede. By then it's too late. What the Most High wants to see is about how you've been living the whole time. Have you been making sure that you seek the Most High's counsel, and is He okay with my decision making? Is He okay with this direction before I embark on this direction? And that Saul and David, obviously, this was the biggest contrast between them both. Sure. So let's go back to where we was at in 1 Samuel chapter 28.
Okay.
Are you going to get the rest of that?
Well, you can read it. Yeah, you can read the rest of that.
See section 2.
Yeah.
No. It said, and when Saul's daughter. Sorry.
It says, and David aimed always to depend not on his own prudence or abilities, but on the divine direction. Contrary to Saul's practice. Did y'all read that part yet?
Can't read that part.
Yeah, but you want to get to the second section.
Well, Mikhail's part in the dancing, that's later on. That's later on in like in 1 Samuel 1 Samuel 2.
But it shows something in that too.
Okay, what does it say? I didn't read it, so I don't know.
Read on down. Read part section 1 through 3, where it says, and here is section 1 through 3.
It is probable she did so because her father Saul did not use to pay such a regard to the ark.
So remember when David was dancing, man, he was celebrating his victory and the fact that they got the ark back, right? He said, but the reason why Michal, when she saw David, he said it was probable that she made fun of David and mocked him as he danced, because certain things happen when he danced, expose himself. But she didn't see it as a worthy, valuable thing to dance before the ark, that the Most High is on your side. Why is that? Read.
It is probable she did so because her father Saul did not used to pay such a regard to the ark.
So remember the ark represented the Most High's presence. That was the most formidable weapon that Israel possessed against their enemies when you got the ark with you. Plus you had the commandments in it, you had Aaron's rod in it. So it was important to show that when you had the ark, you had a direct conversation and communication with the Most High. Remember, the Most High spoke on the top of the ark, on the seat. So, in between the cherubims. That's where the Most High would answer questions. That's where the Most High's voice would come out. It was on the mercy seat, is what it's called. That mercy seat which is the lid of the ark, where here it is right here. We got it right here, where the two cherubims are. This is where the I don't know if this thing opened up or not. Yeah, here we go. This right here is the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant, right? Yeah, you can take it off. But so this right here is the mercy seat of the Ark, right? We have it right here in front. So when you ask the question, you had the voice of the Most High would speak from the center of the mercy seat in between the two cherubims, and the Most High's voice would come out of, that was like the speaker. That's where the Most High's voice would emanate from when you sought the Most High's direction. So it said that Saul didn't really care about the Most High's direction. He didn't really care about the Most High's giving him advice and counsel. And so that's why his family didn't really see it as important either. That's why his daughter didn't really see it as valuable as well.
Train up a child.
Right, because she wasn't trained to respect the fact that you have the ability to speak to the Most High and get His mind frame and you got the priest there for you to intercede for your decision making. Read on.
Says Saul did not use to pay such a regard to the ark.
Man, that ark collected dust when Saul was king. That thing had dust on it because it really wasn't that critical. Saul was a man about executing his will. Read on.
To the Urim there inquired by, or to the Most High's worship before it.
Go ahead.
And because she thought it beneath the dignity of a king to be so religious.
That's embarrassing, man. That's almost like it's beneath us to read the Bible. Why are we reading the Bible? Why do we send up prayers? Why do we have to be so dependent upon a God? If you don't train your children that way, they'll look at that type of worship as being foolish, ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous to why we got to honor the Sabbath. Nobody else in the world honors the Sabbath. Why do we have to pay so attention to wearing fringes? That's ridiculous. Nobody wears fringes. If you don't train that child up in that mentality, they'll look at this form of religion as stupid. Or why are you always, even when nothing's wrong, why are you always praying to the Most High? It's important that your children see you do that. Even if there's nothing wrong, that they see you depending upon the Most High, asking the Most High to intercede for you in your household and your family. And it doesn't have to be at a moment of crisis in order for you to be religious. And you don't want to train your kids up that at the last minute when all hope fails,
Lord,
yeah, then you call on the Lord. Now when your back is against the wall, that's the time that we got to pray. That's something that you want to be showing the Most High the whole entire time that we've been dependent upon the Most High for His sustaining us throughout this endeavor.
Instead of last choice, it should be first choice.
It's the first choice. And it's showing you that it's a remarkable difference between Saul and David, because David always depended on the Most High's direction, when Saul rarely depended upon his direction. Now you can go back to 1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 6.
And he didn't treat the Most High like a genie in a bottle.
Right.
God. So where we at? Verse 6, right?
7. Unless you want me to read 6 again.
Yeah, 6 again.
1 Samuel chapter 28 and verse 6. And when Saul inquired of the Most High answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets.
Because the Most High is not going to be treated that way. You're not going to go to the Most High when you want and just expect His response. But that's how we do. And we wonder why the Most High doesn't hear our prayers, because you got to earn the right for the Most High to listen to you when you call upon Him. You have to put the work in for that. Read on.
Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath the familiar spirit.
Oh, I thought you got away with the campaign of no familiar spirits, no fortune tellers. That was one of your campaign base.
Yep. You say desperation?
Hell yeah. But I thought you was about truth and justice, my guy. Exactly. Now, hey. Find one of them familiar spirit gals. I need some answers, huh? Nah.
I don't want no geeches.
Exactly. The day of the geechee is over. But let's keep reading. What's that?
One verse. Psalm chapter 50, verse 16 to 17.
Psalms what again, sir?
Chapter 50, verse 16 to 17. Read that.
Psalm chapter 50, 16 and 17?
Mm-hmm.
Psalm chapter 50 and verse 16 and 17. But unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes?
Oh, now you want to be right. Now you want answers. Now you want an understanding. Read.
Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth?
Now you want to be. Remember, the covenant is, I will be your God, and you shall be my what?
Mm-hmm.
You will be my people. Now you want to be dependent upon me?
Yeah.
Now you care about the contract? Now you want to hold me to the contract.
Perfect verse.
For what? Read on.
Seeing thou hatest instruction.
Yeah, you haven't been following the whole time.
It's crazy.
You haven't been following and keeping the oath of what who you supposed. Samuel had been holding Saul up and catering to his mistakes the whole time, and been an adversary, not an adversary, but an emissary to him, to petition to the Most High's favor. He had been recovering his mistakes for a while, seeing that what? Seeing thou hatest instruction, go ahead.
And casted my words behind thee.
That's why the Most High said, listen, that's why I'm not going to be there when you need me.
God, because you didn't earn it.
You didn't earn it. Why call on me now? Why call on me now?
Oh, just because you want something out the deal, huh?
Right. Just because you want something out the deal. Or you're in trouble.
God.
Seeing that the whole time you've been bypassing my words, man. You don't care. You don't care about our covenant. You don't care about our contract and what we have. Read on. I mean, let that go. You let that go.
Okay, so let's get back into Samuel. 1 Samuel 28 and verse 7. Yes.
1 Samuel chapter 28 and verse 7. Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, Behold, there is a woman that hath the familiar spirit at Endor.
And all you gotta do is go back to the old maps of Joshua, and you'll see that Endor is right below the Sea of Galilee, and that was where Issachar was. You had Issachar, then you had Naphtali was to the left of them. So if you're gonna just so I can guess, nobody knows 100% for sure, but more than likely it was Issachar that was the culprit that day. Read on verse 8. I love the nation of Israel, but you know,
put him on
I had to, man. That was the Botanica right there, right? Didn't you say that one? It was the Botanica or Herbalaria. Herbalaria. It was something like that, where you go to get herbs for like laxatives and cleansing your body out, but then in the dark back corner, there's some other hula gula stuff over there, man. So that was available if you really wanted it. Anyway, let's keep going.
Verse 8. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment.
So he obviously took off his royal garments. Read on.
And he went, and 2 men with him.
Listen, I would say this. Whether it was his royal garments or his fringes. When Israel wants to do dirt, they take the fringes.
Take them off, bro.
When Israel wants to do dirt, you go in your sweats, black t-shirt, because you don't want to be associated with trying to live right at the places I'm going at. It's the truth. But let's keep reading. So he's just taking his royal garments off, but Israel just takes their fringes off. Huh? Let's keep going.
And they came to the woman by night.
They hide amongst the trees.
Hell yeah, they hide amongst the trees. No fringes. Read on.
Verse 8.
He put a do-rag on or somebody. He got to change the whole look up. Read on. I'm sorry. I'm being stupid.
Verse 8. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment. And he went, and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee.
So bring him up. The person I give you a name, I want to talk to him. Read on.
And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land.
So he's telling her the order that this guy decreed. He said, you know, Saul said we couldn't do this no more. I'm doing a bad thing. I know, but let's go ahead and do this one time. It's going to be okay. Read on.
Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life, to cause me to die?
He said, you're putting my life on the line to do this, man. Read on.
And Saul sware to her by the Most High, saying, As the Most High liveth.
Why are you bringing the Most High up in this conversation? As the Lord liveth. Like, what are you doing? This is anti the Lord.
He's using the Most High's name just to get his way out.
He's using the Most High's name in vain.
In vain. But it's to manipulate him.
It's like we be saying, put that on something.
I swear to, you know what? I swear to G.O.D. that I ain't gonna snitch on you. That's what he said. I swear to G.O.D. I ain't gonna snitch on you. I promise to God. This is horrible, man. But let's keep going. This is bad.
If he felt the Lord really living, he would have been using that.
That's what I'm saying the whole time. The Lord really didn't live in his heart. It's crazy, huh? Let's keep going now.
As the Most High liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing.
It's crazy, huh? Read on.
Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul.
Then when she saw Samuel, the Samuel that the real Samuel.
Right.
Now you must be Saul, man. What the hell's going on, man?
You know what time it is?
Exactly. Read on.
And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou?
He said, don't be afraid. What you see? I want to know what you saw. He don't care a damn thing about what this woman's going through.
That woman in the trance, man.
Is she scared? Brother, it's hilarious. But keep going.
And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth.
Jeez.
And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel. And he stooped with his face to the ground, and bowed himself.
So he was ascending out of the earth in this godly form. Let's go to Josephus and kind of compare the scenarios. So let's go to Antiquities, book 6. I'm sorry, yes, book 6, chapter 14, paragraph 2. That's where I was confused when you was talking about what you pulled. I couldn't find it anywhere, but it was later on. It was in the next.
Oh yeah, I know. It's a little different than that one.
No, it was in here. It was just I didn't know it was further up. It was in book 7.
Oh, okay.
Chapter 4. That's where I was confused, but it was perfect. Let's read that paragraph 2.
All right, Josephus, book 6, chapter 4, paragraph 2, line 327.
There we go.
Now Saul, the king of the Hebrews, had cast out of the country the fortune tellers and the necromancers, and all such as exercise the like arts, excepting the prophets.
Now, what is that telling you about prophets? What is it telling you is there is a spiritual way and a right way to get visions and understand things and have vision underlined, and there's a wrong way to sit back here and have visions and clarity of the spiritual realm. You can sit back here and get clarity and understanding the right way or the wrong way. Read on.
But when he heard that the Philistines were already come and had pitched their camp near the city of Shunem, situated in the plain, he made haste to oppose them with his forces. And when he was come to a certain mountain called Gilboa, he pitched his camp over against the enemy. But when he saw the enemy's army, he was greatly troubled, because it appeared to him to be numerous and superior to his own. And he inquired of the Most High by the prophets concerning the battle.
And he never on a consistent basis inquired to them until now. Read on.
That he might know beforehand what would be the event of it. And when the Most High did not answer him, Saul was under a still greater dread, and his courage fell, foreseeing, as was but reasonable to suppose, that mischief would befall him.
He wasn't an idiot. He was once a prophet. You can tell when the Spirit left you. Read on, and the Most High ain't going to honor something. Read on.
Now the Most High was not there to assist him, yet did he bid his servants to inquire out for him some woman that was a necromancer, and called up the souls of the dead, that so he might know whether his affairs would succeed up his mind.
To his mind. Oh, yours might say up. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine says to. So like it.
For this sort of necromantic woman that bring up the souls of the dead do by them foretell future events to such as desire them. And one of his servants told him that there was such a woman in the city of Endor, but was known to nobody in the camp.
How'd you know? You must have went to see her, huh? You went on the snake to get answers, huh? How did nobody else know but you? Anyway, I'm sorry. Keep going on.
Hereupon Saul put off his royal apparel, and took 2 of those his servants with him, whom he knew to be most faithful to him, and came to Endor to the woman, and entreated her to act the part of a fortune teller, and to bring up such a soul to him as he should name to her. But when the woman opposed his motion, and said she did not despise the king, who had banished this sort of fortune tellers, and that he did not do well himself, when she had done him no harm, to endeavor to lay a snare for her, and to discover that she exercised a forbidden art in order to procure her to be punished, he sware that nobody should know what she did, and that he would not tell anyone else that she foretold.
Except for the Most High. Read on.
But that she should incur no danger. As soon as he had induced her by this oath to fear no harm, he bade her bring up to him the soul of Samuel. She, not knowing who Samuel was, called him out of Hades.
Now, when they're saying Hades just means the earth. I'm not going to sit back here and say that in the earth. That's what I'm saying, the ground. We're not saying that this is something about Saul was in hell and it didn't make to the kingdom. It was sinning and got punished.
No, bro.
Because just what the scriptures say, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And then what earth is just talking about, Hades is talking about earth, the ground. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. We're not trying to get deep with this. Let's keep going.
When he appeared, and the woman saw one that was
Venerable, yes.
Venerable.
Honorable, yeah.
And of a divine form.
So obviously he was in a divine spiritual form. He wasn't coming from Hades with hooks and teeth and claws and I'm cursed soul and I'm cut and scratched and tortured. None of that. Read on.
She was in disorder, and being astonished at the sight, she said, Art not thou King Saul? For Samuel had informed her who he was.
Exactly. So Samuel was like, who the hell raised me up? Was that a nigga Saul over there? I know it's Saul. Saul raised me up. Goddamn Saul. And he's like, oh, that is Saul. Yeah, that's how it was happening. Read on.
When he had owned that to be true.
I'm Saul. It's me.
Yeah.
Read on.
And had asked her whence her disorder arose.
Because he couldn't obviously see what she could see. You ever see like Ghost? Whoopi could see old girl or see old boy, but old girl couldn't see him. But I'm just trying to paint a picture. I know that was an old movie, but that was the first thing that popped in my head. Read on.
It's like that even in the scriptures though.
Yeah.
When who was it? Elisha and his
Yep.
servant.
Yep.
And Elisha prayed to the Most High
He
for
said,
his servant to open
the people that's
open his eyes so he can see all the spirits that was there.
The people that's with us is greater than the guys that are against us.
Mm-hmm.
Come. Read on.
She said that she saw a certain person ascend, who in his form was like to a god.
And that means, listen, that means when he got to the kingdom, he was elevated out. He was powered up out. And his spirit, you know, all this shows you, is all the good works we do on earth, it talks about it in Matthew about laying treasures in heaven. The more you sit back and sacrifice and commit the work to change, there is a repercussion on the back end. Your spirit is going to be revealed as to what kind of man you were or what kind of woman you were in your life. But anyway, keep going.
And when he bid her tell him what he resembled, in what habit he appeared, and of what age he was, she told him he was an old man already, and of a glorious personage, and had a sacerdotal mantle.
Mm-hmm.
So the king discovered by these signs that he was Samuel. And he fell down upon the ground and saluted and worshipped him. And when the soul of Samuel asked him why he had disturbed him and caused him to be brought up, he lamented the necessity he was under. For he said that his enemies pressed heavily upon him, that he was in distress, what to do in his present circumstances, that he was forsaken of the Most High, and could obtain no prediction of what was coming, neither by prophets nor by dreams, and that these were the reason why I have recourse to thee, who always tookest care of me. But Samuel, seeing that the end of Saul's life was come, said, It is in vain for thee to desire to learn of me anything further.
He said it's in vain. First of all, you had your shot to get answers when I was living. Now you're going to sit back here, you want answers now? He says you're wasting your time. I'm talking to a dead man, he's pretty much going to say that. Read on.
Yes, it's sad because sometimes our people don't listen till it's too late.
Come. A lot of times.
Or they're not willing to listen till it's too late.
It's crazy, bro. Come. Read on.
It is in vain for thee to desire to learn of me anything further.
It's almost like, it's like this is, remember, read about dealing with Abraham's bosom?
Yeah.
And dealing with the guy that says, man, let me sit back here and at least tell my people to listen. And it was said, listen, if they didn't listen to the prophets, they didn't listen to people teaching them right in front of their face, they're not going to listen to a spirit coming from the dead. And this is another example of it. Listen, you weren't listening to me when I was alive. Now you want answers now? You didn't listen when I was alive. Anyway, let's keep going.
When the Most High hath forsaken thee, let me read again. It is in vain for thee to desire to learn of me anything further, when the Most High hath forsaken thee. However, hear what I say, that David is to be king, and to finish this war with good success, and thou art to lose thy dominion and thy life, because thou didst not obey the Most High in the war with the Amalekites, and has not kept his commandments, as I foretold thee while I was alive.
You know what's crazy? Samuel didn't even tell him about the other sins he did. All the attempts of David's life, and all of the other things, the killing of the priest. He didn't even tell him about that one, the killing of Ahimelech's family and their whole priestly city. He was a dead man off those two things he didn't listen to from the beginning. I say that because we have to really sit back here and walk circumspectly and make sure that we do the right things as much as we can, because we don't know when enough is enough to the Most High.
And also,
when the Most High says, I had enough.
And also the Most High had already left him a long time ago. And that's the scary part, is the fact that Saul, the Most High left him back in 1 Samuel 15. He said, the Most High has departed from thee and replaced thee with the one that's better than thee. But the whole time, the scary thing is the fact that the Most High will let you continue thinking that you're in good standings with the Most High, and the whole time you're not. To me, that's very scary, man. The whole time I've been thinking I've been in good standings with the Most High, but the Most High departed from me a long time ago. That's scary, man.
Brother, so let's keep going.
Know therefore that the people shall be made subject to their enemies, and that thou with thy sons shall fall in the battle tomorrow.
And that's scary. Your sons are going to be punished because of your actions. Jonathan was a good man. And this is why as men and as husbands, we have a responsibility to be on top of ourselves, because our children suffer because of our sins. Our children suffer because we want to be selfish. Our children got to suffer.
They'll repeat our sins.
And they will suffer because of our decisions.
Exactly.
Listen, Jonathan was honorable. Remember a few chapters ago, he's like, man, David, me and you, I'll be your number 2 when you get on top. I know you're going to be the guy on top. And I want to be there with you in whatever supportive fashion I can.
They made a bond, man, a league with each other.
He says we're going to have, our children going to grow up together. They were trying to build that unity down the line. And that got snuffed out because of his dad. And his dad's wickedness. He had to fall with his father.
And that's the consequence of kingship.
God. Well, and just being wicked.
Being wicked. But I had to harp on, when you look at how our children just simply follow our bad habits. Mm-hmm. We may not get this, somebody's phone, well, I'm not getting that. You're not going to get that, right? But you're going to get...
It was in the valley of Jezreel.
Yeah. Listen, but you will get them repeating the same bad habits, and you got to tell them, hey, I already did this, don't do it. And they're not going to listen like I didn't listen. Mm-hmm. You got to deal with them, seeing them, knowing what path they're going to go on, but you can't convince them. That's uncomfortable also to do it also.
God. So let's keep going.
And thou shalt then be with me.
Yeah, in the earth. You're going to be in the earth with me.
I'm going to see you a couple hours.
I'm going to see you. That's a scary thing. That's a scary pill to swallow. Listen, it would have been better that he didn't know he was going to die. I would have rather not known the bad news.
It's his fault though. That's what he asked for.
You asked for it. You're going to get a lot of bad. Listen, you ain't getting no sleep. No. Listen, you can forget it, Act. You got that damn Sam Cooke song in your head, Act. I was born by the river. You know you thinking that in a little tent. Listen, that's the song that's about to happen before you die, Act. Anyway, that's how I imagine it. That.
So be like, hey, we'll finish talking when you get here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's scary.
I got a spot reserved for you.
Read paragraph 3, because even with all that, Saul took it like a G afterwards. It's going to explain it. Read on.
Paragraph 3, line 337. Then Saul heard this. He could not speak for grief, and fell down on the floor, nor what will sooner render the Most High favorable, and ready to bestow good things upon us, and so far may suffice to have spoken concerning this woman. But I shall speak further upon another subject, which will afford me an opportunity of discoursing on what is for the advantage of cities and people and nations, and suited to the taste of good men, and will encourage them all in the prosecution of virtue, and is capable of showing them the method of acquiring glory and an everlasting fame, and of imprinting in the kings of nations and the rulers of cities great inclination and diligence of doing well, as also of encouraging them to undergo dangers and to die for their country.
What he's saying is, he's saying that he's about to give an explanation or example of how to deal with adversity courageously, how to deal with certain death courageously, how to deal with the real losses that were waiting for a person in the right spirit. Okay, read on.
And of instructing them how to despise all the most terrible adversities. And I have a fair occasion offered me to enter on such a discourse by Saul, the king of the Hebrews. For although he knew what was coming upon him, and that he was to die immediately by the prediction of the prophet, he did not resolve to fly from death, nor so far to indulge in the love of life as to betray his own people to the enemy, or to bring a disgrace on his royal dignity.
He did spiritually bring his disgrace to his royal family and his name, and he did his nation a disservice by not being in order with the Most High. But he showed his people love by standing up and just dying honorably. Because he could have ran. He could have ran like a chump. But it was optics too, it was pride. And the truth is, he did love his people. The truth is this, he loved his people, he sinned, and he's getting judged, bro. What we all have to continue to remind ourselves is, men have negative in them, and there's a little good there too. Or there's a little more good and there's negative. There's a little bit of both in people. And if I can understand that, I can at least learn to forgive people. Saul was negative. He wanted David dead. He didn't lock into his elders. He didn't lock into to Samuel. But you know what? He still cared for his people. And he cared enough about them to go to war to give the people courage.
Yep. And there was some dignity within Saul.
And that's what he's saying. God, there was dignity to sit back and stand up, to stand up and look death in the face and deal with it.
You know, it just shows that reading what we've read so far, you would think that wouldn't be in Saul. But it shows you that it's in every man, even if a man makes mistakes. There's some dignity remaining in every man, even if he makes mistakes.
And the crazy thing, what you've seen
that he can display.
What you see in Saul is a double-minded man. Because there was times he showed love to David and he respected David and he embraced David. Remember after he threw the javelin the first time? Then he came back and Jonathan took him out in the woods and was talking to him in the field. Mm-hmm. And he tried to convince Saul that he didn't do anything wrong. He said, man, you were right. You're right, Jonathan. He didn't do nothing wrong. Then he brought David out and he hugged him again. And he said, man, come back in the temple, in the kingdom. My fault, man. I'm screwing up out here. You can see a guy that was constantly wrestling with this negative. And he fell. He succumbed to his negative and he has to get punished. But now he's like, you know what? It's over. The fight to keep my kingdom is over. Let me go down gracefully.
That's that conflict with your weakness, your flaws.
And listen, that's exactly what is that inner conflict that he lost. And you know, the truth is, if we're all humble, we can see that in ourselves at times too.
Yeah.
And this is why it says, where the verse that was pulled out, that you pulled out, that all men die. So we can rejoice in the fall of Saul. Every man slips up. David eventually slips up. So what we need to do is sit back and look at the fall, learn from it so that we don't follow suit. That's how we need to deal with all situations, all collapses. Anyway, let's continue.
But exposing himself as well as all his family and children to dangers, he thought it a brave thing to fall together with them, as he was fighting for his subjects.
So he's like, I gotta fight for my people and my sons, man. I got 3 sons out here fighting. I'm gonna run on them. I'm gonna run out on them. Read on.
And that it was better his sons should die thus, showing their courage, than to leave them to their uncertain conduct afterwards, while instead of secession and posterity, they gain commendation and a lasting name. Such a one alone seems me to be a just, a courageous, and a prudent man. And
to a degree. There was honor that he did to a degree. Read on.
Or shall hereafter arrive at them.
He was a slave to his jealousy. Right?
And his flesh. He was a slave to his flesh.
Slave to his jealousy, and he didn't maintain his training, and he deviated.
God.
These are the things that
men do.
He might look at the good that he was doing, but listen, bro, these things catch up.
No doubt. Continue.
And when anyone has at these dispositions, or shall hereafter arrive at them, he is the man that ought to be by all honored with the testimony of a virtuous and courageous man. For as to those that go out to war with hopes of success, and that they shall return safe, supposing they should have performed some glorious action, I think those do not do well who call those valiant, as so many historians and other writers who treat of them are wont to do. Although I confess those to do justly deserve some commendation also, but those only may be styled courageous and bold in great undertakings.
You know, what he's showing you is that different civilizations and different nations, they have their own idea of what a hero is.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, Josephus is giving his opinion right here, saying that he doesn't feel like a hero is somebody like here,
a front runner guy.
Here in America, we have first responders are called heroes. You know, the medical aides, the medical assistants, the military veterans. Salute the veterans. The police officers. They are classified in this particular time, in this particular place, in this particular country, as heroes. Salute our heroes. But what Josephus is saying is that he doesn't constitute somebody that puts their life on the line for the hope of danger and that they return home safe. He doesn't qualify that person as a hero. What he's saying is, you don't know a hero until you know that you're going to die. And that you know that there's going to be no success.
Yeah.
And that you know that you're not coming back.
And you still go do it.
And you know that there's no return mission. This is a one-way mission.
Yeah, bro.
You're on a one-way mission to your demise.
Yep.
But how do you go into that battle when you know there's no coming back? That's how, and that mentality of the person that's on that one-way mission, that's how you know who's a hero. That's a real hero. That's somebody that deserves a salute. It's when they know that there is no recovering out of it. Once I engage in this battle, I know I'm not coming back, but how do I go into this battle? That's a hero in Josephus' eyes.
There was a movie, I'm not going to make it long, it was a movie called U-571. And it was about United States, it was the Army, I think it was World War II. U-boats. And then the Americans were in a German ship. And they were about to get surrounded by other Germans. And they were about to die. But there was a malfunction in the ship. And in order for them to get out of the situation, there was a pressure release valve that had to get pulled. But the problem was in the bay that they were supposed to go into.
Where was that?
Huh?
Where was that?
It was under.
Yeah.
And that they had to sit. That you had to have a guy with small hands, small arms, to go in there and do it. And there was no oxygen mask. You had to go in here. It was a one-way mission. You had to go in there, cut this valve off, and you weren't coming back. And the young dude, he was a young cadet, and the captain had to learn what real leadership was. And he had to sit back and give this guy an order to go pull this valve to release the pressure so the boat can keep going and they can get out and escape. Because what was inside was like crucial to the war. It was a game-changing situation in the war because it was some type of decoding of U.S. signals and stuff that the Germans, if they would have took it, they could have changed the tide of the war. Point is, it was a death mission, bro. You're going, you're gonna swim to this spot, you're gonna pull this channel, and you're dead. And he had to sit back and face that and own it to the fact, I'm gonna make this move and I'm not coming back. And that's what Josephus and what Shem was saying. That's what real courage is.
And you can imagine also Saul going to battle, knowing what was going to happen, seeing the prophecy, and then he can't tell anybody, like, listen, we're going to die right now. We're not going to win this battle.
Yeah.
He went ahead, kept it to himself.
He kept it to himself, exactly.
You know, you read about when Chernobyl blew up in Russia, Ukraine, and the firefighters that got there, the men that worked in the nuclear reactor, the reactor core had became unstable, and those rods that's inside the reactor core, there was no fresh water coming to those rods to cool those rods down. That's why the thing blew up. So the guys that had to go in there to shut these valves off or turn these valves on to get the fresh water back into the reactor core, they knew that once they got in this, they swam into this water, they knew that they were going to die. And they still put on swimsuits, and they swam down under the reactor core in the water, or near to turn the valves on, or turn them off, one of the two, turn them off or turn them on. And by the time they came back out of the water, when you read about that, they were already starting to die by the time they got out of the water, because the water was so radioactive. So they died within like minutes. They died within minutes of coming out of the water. But they knew that if they didn't turn them valves, that it was going to be worse.
The whole city
was already unstable, already blew up. But they voluntarily put themselves in a position to know once they put on the swimsuits to go down in that water to turn them valves off or on, they knew they was coming out. And so when they said that, when they came out of the water, the mutation of their cells had already begun, because that's what radiation does. It mutates your cells. So their hair had already started to fall off.
That's horrible.
Their bodies had already started to break down and dissolve. They had already started mutating while they were still coming out the water. And to face that kind of situation, that's more honorable when you know that you're not coming back.
Versus you got some high hopes. I can take that guy. I can take him out.
And you got weapons with you. Yeah. You got ammunition with you. You know there's a chance. You're judged as a hero when you know that you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
And then you still conduct yourself a certain way. That's how you know who's a real hero, who's not.
No doubt about it, bro. Listen.
Yeah.
I love all the examples that y'all brought out, but we can't forget about Yahushua. Yeah. That's what made him a hero. Yeah. The greatest hero.
Yeah. Right.
To know all the stuff he was going to have to go through and still be on point with the Most High.
Yep.
Yep. To sit up and dine and eat with the cat you know that's going to sell you out, and still go through it.
And the worst you do is, if it's your will, let this cup pass me, man. And if after it was a no-go, so be it. That's a life of a living sacrifice, huh? There's no doubt about it. What's that?
A true hero.
Huh? No doubt about it. Huh? Let's keep going.
Line 347. Although I confess those do justly deserve some commendation also, but those only may be styled courageous and bold in great undertakings, and despisers of adversities, who imitate Saul. For as for those that do not know what the event of war will be as to themselves, and though they do not faint in it, but deliver themselves up to uncertain futurity, and are tossed this way and that way, this is not so very eminent an instance of generous mind, although they happen to perform many great exploits. But when men's minds expect no good event, but they know beforehand they must die, and that they must undergo that death in the battle also after this, neither to be affrighted nor to be astonished at the terrible fate that is coming, but to go directly upon it when they know it beforehand. This it is that I esteem the character of a man truly courageous.
True.
And when you read later on, when David sent Uriah to the wall with the arrows, and then he told those other men to pull back, when you read about Uriah's final last minutes, he said that even though he saw his men retreat, he still fought valiantly, and he kept taking out as many men as he could, even though he was wounded with arrows. He still kept taking men out until he would completely succumb to the arrows. But he was basically fighting, even though he knew, hey man, I got sold out, and I'm not coming back. But I'm gonna take these out with me as I go. You know, he could have ran back with them too. He could have retreated. He said, but it wasn't in him to retreat. That's one thing that made Uriah such a good person on his side, even though he wasn't an Israelite. Yeah. It said that it wasn't in him to retreat. It's phenomenal, bro. You know what I'm saying? That kind of mindset is hard to come by. You know what I'm saying?
Special individuals.
Yeah.
Read on.
Line 349. Accordingly, this Saul did, and thereby demonstrated that all men who desire fame after they are dead are so to act as they may obtain the same. This especially concerns kings, who ought not to think it enough in their high station that they are not wicked in the government of their subjects, but to be no more than moderately good to them. I could say more than this about Saul and his courage, the subject affording matter sufficient, but that I may not appear to run out improperly in his commendation, I return again to that history from which I made this digression.
Okay, so let's get back. Tazma, let's finish this up, man. Get that one below, man.
Tazapah, Shal Shabbatah, Rahaban, Ban Yasha'Allah.
Tazapah, Shal Shabbatah, Ban Rahaban, Ban Yasha'Allah. I measure. Yahweh Hashem Yasha'Allah.
Yahweh Hashem Yasha'Allah.
So I think we left off 1 Samuel 28 and verse we're at verse 11. No, verse 12. No. Verse 14, because it did say, I saw gods ascending from the earth. Yeah, so let's go verse 14.
1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 14. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stopped with his face to the ground. He stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself.
God.
And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and Yahweh is departed from me, and answered me no more, neither by prophets, nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel,